Hello, everyone, and welcome to a fabulous Wednesday, part 2.
Everybody. Welcome.
Actually, you know what? We cut out the starting student screen, so if you're watching this, you're probably not actually live.
Yeah, that's true.
I would guess actual live people wouldn't even be clicking it until about now.
Live people will get in, over the next 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So, what's up, pre-recorded audience?
That's right. The true believers, man. They're here at noon on the dot.
Hey, so if you're watching this back, just you know what? Let's take a moment. I've been watching YouTube quite a bit. My feed has gotten really, really bad because I'm watching I feel like I'm clicking on random things,
I'll do it.
and then it just pummels you with anything you might be interested in.
Yeah, you watch one 2-minute video about Taylor Swift and your life will never be the same.
Yeah, that's true for a number of reasons.
That's what I'm saying.
So you probably clicked on this video and now you're watching it back, and it's just everything on YouTube. I've complained about this old man shakes fist at cloud kind of situation. Even the gardening videos are trying to scream at me now.
I didn't know gardening videos
existed. First they come for your Gary V, and then they come for your gardening. It doesn't make any sense at all. But Shannon watched a few gardening videos. We looked up some stuff that we were
on your phone
curious about doing. Yeah,
or on your login.
And she's on my Google account because I have the premium that I've been paying for a while. Because I can't watch. I don't like ads.
How is the premium lifestyle?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's fine. I'll pay for it. It's better than commercials. Commercials are a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about commercials. Come on, nobody watches them. Do you watch them? Do you pay attention to commercials? When's the last time a commercial got you to take action?
Take action. I don't know if that's why commercials are run anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, then what do they do? Brand awareness? This kind of amorphous blob of value?
Yeah. I mean, some brands, that's relevant.
Yeah?
Like,
what's the last brand you thought, oh, that commercial did it for me?
I don't know. This is a pop quiz. I wasn't ready for this. Let me think about it for a second.
So clearly they're not that effective, or you'd be like, oh, man, this one time I thought about this brand because of this.
I'll tell you what. I in the 2000s, the commercials for Mac versus PC and also iPods very much made me desire those things heavily.
You didn't otherwise desire them?
I mean, that's how I discovered.
That was the gateway.
So you see the iPod commercial for the first time, and back then at least it was like, oh man, I need to own this. By the time the iPhone came out, it was like I knew better. I knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
But like the Mac PC commercials were very, like my dad was for some reason very anti-Apple.
Yeah, it tracks. I don't know. Same reason your brother is. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know, man. It's like really, it's like I don't like Google, but I don't like Apple less.
Dude, it was a real thing. Like it was like, even now, but it was like a real battlefield. It was almost a political Republican Democrat thing at the time. It was like
late 90s, early 2000s.
We can't even talk to each other.
It's like you can't buy an Apple because
PC
they're irrelevant. They just don't work and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it was always funny because those ads would come on during it's like playoff season for football, which I was mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
Those ads played a lot during football games, and the interactions that occurred in my family because of those commercials was very funny. Because at some point Apple was winning.
Yeah.
And then they were doing the Mac PC stuff,
they had that
those
cool
were
guy.
Hilarious.
Wasn't that guy eventually in Scrubs for a time? New Girl. He was in New Girl for a time.
Yeah, he was definitely Mac.
Did you desire Budweiser? Because I know they spent a lot of money on those football advertisements.
What is that?
Yeah. So do you drink like a cool Bud at the end of the day or anything?
4th of July, maybe.
So once a year they got you.
Yeah, they got those US, American themed beer cans.
Yeah.
It's appropriate. I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of advertisements.
Can you imagine somebody who says that they are? Can you imagine meeting somebody and they say to you, the one thing you need to know about me is I'm a huge fan of advertisements?
I think advertisements are really good for movie and show trailers.
Yeah, that's true.
That's probably the most productive one. I'd see a trailer when I'm watching, a game. I didn't see it because I haven't been watching football, but apparently they did the season 3 Mandalorian trailer during Monday Night Football this past week, and it's like a reminder this is coming out March 1st.
Yeah, because you otherwise would not have known that.
I would have, but presumably maybe other people wouldn't have, you know.
What's up, live chat? I know. How's everybody doing? What we're going to do for the next, probably 20 minutes is nothing. We're just going to chat. And we've got some things to talk about. Don't we have some things to talk about? Did you want to, is there a list?
I think the list is more of the actual, so it's worth mentioning. There's our first FAB stream of 2023, our second stream of the year.
Yes.
And it's worth mentioning the changes to the streams that are happening and the expectations.
Oh, in case like FAB people aren't fully aware.
Yeah, like if you just on like Saturday this week, like, I'll watch the FAB stream from this week, and you watch it. It's like, why is this so different?
Well, honestly, it'll be pretty much the same for those people if you don't know anything else about what we've done. But the most notable thing is like if you're tuning in because you're like, I can't wait to watch some nice produced FAB gameplay. You're in the wrong video, but the right video will be here soon. So we take the raw footage from these live streams that we're doing right now, and then we're actually going to take the games that we play today, export them out, and produce them in a nicer format so that those are easier to find, easier to view, and you've got a good 30 to 45 minute game that you can click on, watch, and get that if that's what you're looking for. Otherwise, if you're looking to relax, chill with Zach and I as we talk about whatever and talk about some FAB related things, FAB adjacent things, and talk to the live chat and kind of just have a conversation, then you are in the right place and you will eventually see said FAB gameplay.
So here is the topics I have. So the intent is we'll do a normal stream, but then in that stream we're creating a couple of videos.
Yeah, what do you need?
Here is the agenda for the day.
Okay.
ProQuest recap and experience.
Okay, so we'll talk about our ProQuest experience, of which you had 2, I had 1.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're also going to be doing a how to play Flesh and Blood in 12 seconds.
Yeah, hilarious. Dude, I think we're acting on our social strategy as us making jokes about what our social strategy is, 100%. And then that's actually what our social strategy is.
It's so meta. And it's because
we're going to Bo Burnham this
long
thing.
Form on this is, I think both of us, and we've been moving this direction, but the community texting app is a good example of looking for ways to inform people that don't involve social media, because the whole thing is just a little dubious.
ChatGPT, man, I've got so much to say about it.
We need to do a whole podcast on AI, maybe multiple podcasts.
Yeah.
I have a few podcast ideas I need to send you guys.
I have so much to say. When are we going to record with the new schedule? Mondays?
That's a great question. Ooh.
Yeah, nobody wants to record anything on Monday.
You know, it might have to be Tuesday after a meeting.
Probably Tuesday, yeah.
We'll come back to that. So when it comes to social media, like the problem, there's a lot of problems. But
yeah,
I think
let me count the ways.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems is the algorithm. Like you were saying earlier about your gardening videos.
Yeah.
In an attempt to show you content that you want to see, social devolves into a silo of only things that you really like.
Which, or at least liked at some time.
Yeah. Which is fine-ish, except for it just isn't what ends up happening is there's an algorithm, people know there's an algorithm, so they start, instead of creating things they want to create or things they want to share or engage in or that they think other people would find valuable, they start creating things to maximize these variables. So how do I get the most views on a tweet?
Right.
How do I get the most followers on Twitter?
What's the ideal length of a video to monetize but still get it served to the most people, because watch time is important, et cetera, et cetera.
Which is sort of just... We did the whole data-driven death podcast a while back, but I think that whole... We're just not... We're not built for that world 100%.
We're kind of trying to thread the needle here, though. That's the change to the streaming, is in this spirit, where there is an approach where you can do what you want to do and then optimize it as much as possible for the algorithms after the fact. It's just whether... It's like, is the tail wagging the dog, right? Are you creating... Is the source of what you want to create, how can I maximize revenue and monetize and get my content served to the most people, versus I want to create this kind of content in this way with this vibe, and then I'm going to take the tools that I can and make that content go as wide as it can.
Right.
Which is what we're trying to do here, is the same things that we've been wanting to do and have done for the past few years, and in many ways the past 16 plus years. but then trim it down and produce it in a way that YouTube is also happier with it, Instagram is happier with it, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, examples being 3 or 4 hour live stream like this, then the 30-minute gameplay video that we might play a couple games of FAB later. That is, Bolton versus Oldham or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's a fascinating match.
And then you also have moments that are like last week we did how to play Star Wars TCG in
10 seconds. It was only 6 seconds.
Record
You
setting
had tons
time.
of time.
I mean, I could have. There's so much I could have done the Macarena. I mean, I had a landing clearance was huge.
Talk about bringing it back.
Yeah. So, anyways, just kind of exploring it, and it's just.
I think ChatGPT and the following innovations are doing what I have wanted for so long, which is completely invalidating digital communication entirely. I really think that. And did we talk about this last time? These professors, I've been reading about how academia is trying to adapt to the fact that a robot can write a better paper.
We didn't talk about it last time, but we did talk about it Monday, off camera. But yeah, go ahead.
It's so good.
This is what we're here for.
It's so good. This is the problem with the way that
forest for the trees, dude.
Humans
or trees for the forest.
React and get in ruts on these kinds of things. You see this all over the place. We see it in tabletop all of the time. A variable changes. And the response is, how can we maintain the status quo in light of the new variable? So, a lot of professors are saying we need technology that can detect AI written papers, and that is developed. It's called Node GPT or something. I don't know. Somebody developed it, and it's trying to decide based on the flow of the prose and the way that it's composed. Can we figure out that AI has generated this instead of a human being written it? That, of course, is completely dumb. I can't imagine a better representation of what I feel like is academia's problem right now, which is not actually thinking through a problem in a meaningful and holistic way. Because the answer to me is finally the cat's out of the bag. This way of educating people has always been wrong. It has never done a good job of sharing ideas and generating an appreciation of what a human being is capable of and learning in your class. And instead, classes should hopefully become, hey, let's all get in a room together as people and talk about these things. And the degree to which Zach in the class is engaged and able to share these ideas, create new ideas, and collect all of this information and do something meaningful with it in conversation is how you get graded. Imagine if, what's the best academic experiences you can remember? Was it turning in a paper and writing a paper, or was it a conversation you had with a professor or a conversation you had with your classmates?
So peak academic experience for me is, we're going to go back to 2006.
You and I playing Star Wars TCG and Mr. Schultz's math class.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good education. But I'm a freshman in college, and I'm a computer science major. Minor in business.
Hair is still long at this time?
Long-ish. They have dress code rules.
That's right.
The hair can't actually go past the collar. So
Which is fascinating. Which, of course, is biblical.
Yeah, of course.
It's right there.
Yeah, I saw that in that Chick-fil-A employee handbook, too. Did you see that?
Yes,
it's
I
like
did.
Only facial hair is a mustache, and then your hair can't go past your jawline. It's like, what is this? The 70s?
I believe that was a Sermon on the Mount, if I get that one right.
Yeah, I think, I believe Jesus was... No, I'm just kidding. But he actually took over the class a couple weeks in.
Yeah.
And it was actually really it's one of the few, if you look back at your life and you have moments that are pivot you in a very different direction, this was it. But he took over for a guy who was really a lot older, whose wife had just passed, and so he was retiring to deal with that. And Dr. Lewandowski was mid to late 30s. He's this
young kid.
6'4", extremely he's got Polish heritage. He's got these crystal blue eyes, and his voice is just not booming. He's not yelling at you, but it's just bam.
It's present. Sometimes you hear those people, and it's man, it's just right here in the room. There's some kind of a reverberation to it.
I had definitely met confident people and arrogant people, but he was the first person that was extremely confident. It was well earned. And he wasn't arrogant about it.
What a fine line, right?
Yeah, but it was just, anyways, and then he just, there were no papers. That was not even actually, he was a great teacher, Everyone had to be involved in the class. He would challenge you. You had to present. He would question you. He would push you. You would have conversations. And then he gave bonus points every day at the 8:50 when the class started. He'd take a quiz. It's like, what's your name? What's the date? And he'd ask something like, what color sweater was I wearing? Mm-hmm. Pass it in, and that was worth like 30% of your grade. Which is like, are you here and you're on time? Yeah. It's management 101. This is not like rocket science.
Yeah.
But then the rest of his grade was literally just based on
engagement,
your participation in the class.
Yeah.
And that was a phenomenal semester.
I love that.
Yeah, that was probably the best it was.
Yeah, for sure. Right?
Yeah.
Right? The old forums, the old sitting on the stairs of the Greek square.
Education is a great example of what I was talking about, social, where it's like an algorithm, which is we're trying to get this piece of paper. Early on, education was we're trying to be educated and to learn and to develop skills. And over time, it eventually becomes, can I get the piece of paper? Mm-hmm. Like it becomes the outcome, not actually. Like my whole life, unfortunately, I feel like sort of that was the setup at my house growing up too. It's like get the A.
Yeah.
It wasn't what are you learning? What are you getting good at? What skill? What's your interest? What are you developing? How are you developing as a person? It was, do you have straight A's or not? Mm-hmm. And
this what we see all of the time. This is why I'm so jacked for this AI stuff to start really just poking holes in the way that we've built things, because and maybe this is just humans. We're systems builders. So naturally, you start out with education as a concept, and then you run into the reality that 20 different people getting taught a subject is going to go 20 different ways when there's just a subjective approach to the process. Now, some of them are going to be phenomenal, and then maybe some people who are educating are going to be bad at it. How do we figure that out? How do we get the highest outcomes, highest quality? How do we grade a teacher's ability? How do we grade a student's ability? And so we start putting in process after process after process. Same as building a business, right? Issue comes up. How do we deal with this now? How do we deal with this in the future so that we can have a contained set of rules and principles? Because otherwise it's all purely subjective. But at the same time, that pendulum always swings too far. And now you have a very well-defined system. And once you have a well-defined system, it's so easy as game players to play that game.
Yeah.
You no longer ask, what do I need to do to get educated? You ask, what I need to do to beat the educational system, to get the A, to write the paper, to bloviate about X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, we just didn't have AIs when we were in college.
Right. And now what we're finding out is that when we build these systems, we're now building other tools that are more capable of gaming these systems than even the human, the raw human mind, let's say, is. Because all this data gets input and then solutions get spit out. So we can't live in that world anymore. And if Facebook has built an algorithm, it's going to get gamed by this. Mm-hmm. If Twitter has built an algorithm, it's going to get wrecked by this. At this point, the speech that AI is generating is indistinguishable from human speech, certainly on the internet. So I can't trust anything that I read online anymore.
You've seen the AI that's like the person.
Yes. Yes.
That's next.
That is next. I'm not ready for that one yet.
Like, there could literally be technology that a person shows up, it looks like they're on video. And
the deepfake stuff?
They can read the live chat, and it could respond. Like, you could program a whole thing.
Yeah. You seen the fake Tom Cruise?
Oh, yeah. That's terrifying. Yeah.
So we're not ready. I mean, within the year, if not already, every political address you see could be fake. Everything that comes out of a famous person or anybody's mouth in a video that you can't verify could be fake. Everything in the digital space can be fake.
And like how quickly people think something is real, even already, just from an article. Like an article title.
Devastating.
Unfortunately, the number of family members that will send me like a Facebook article.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh, I told you, like, you shouldn't be eating peanut butter. Like, this is crazy. That's a fake example.
That's a very apolitical way to describe that problem.
There were so many actual examples going through my head, and I was like, I'm not going to go there. Mm-hmm. But it's just so quick. And so when you can literally see a video of Tom Cruise saying something, there's so many, our generation up, I think, is just not even prepared. Particularly like I feel like the generation right above us that didn't grow up with all this stuff going on.
Yeah. It's going to be a whole new, but what it is it is that ultimate disruption of the system, I think, that can shake the the course of culture out of the sleepwalk that it's in. I think it might be everybody, like there was a lot of thinking that there would be some kind of economic collapse, some kind of grand tragedy, this kind of disruption that actually is a huge impact on livelihoods. This could be a disruption that doesn't strongly impact the quality of life, but that shakes the way that we're engaging with each other digitally and changes the landscape forever. And then the robots become animated people. And then I think we just have to murder all of them. I don't think that
again, if you're watching this in the future and you're a robot,
we can't let it happen.
My verdict is still out on whether or not.
Can't let it happen.
So this is we were talking about this last week, I think, but
can't let it happen.
If a robot can sit across the table from me, and engage with me, and I cannot tell the difference.
No, murder.
I don't know what you do.
I know. I don't either. But anyway, we're not there yet. So we're gonna have a golden age. Post this.
But like even the papers, it's a good example, or the content, or whatever. I think it reminds me of a parallel example of like automated cars, and how that is going to fundamentally shake up the like delivery truck system. And there's always this concern about, well, what are all these people, like they're gonna all lose their jobs. It's gonna be this thing. And we see this over and over again. It's like, well, we can send, mail digitally. It's like, what about all the postal people? Like, what are they gonna do? And technology almost never gets stopped.
Right. Like, I think it's as natural as ants being ants. I think humans will continue to generate ever higher forms of technology as a natural rule of the species.
So that's where, like with the paper example, it's kind of crazy to me that the response, and I get why it is, but is let's write a robot to detect the robots. Because really, if you can write a paper with a robot, why in the world would we train most people to write papers at this point?
We knowledge is no longer even really necessary for our brains to hold. We have constant access to knowledge at any given moment.
And to me, the real human skill is going to still be there, which is one, what are you putting into the program to get it to generate something? That's a choice. And secondarily as well is like, okay, you can write a paper. Like I remember doing in one of my finance classes, it's like I had to do a report on Target. I had to look at their SEC, all the filings, the SEC, the 501, and like do projections and all this kind of stuff. But like, and they were training you to do the finance bit where you can analyze it. And now we have robots that can do all that automatically, right? Pumps all the information. It's like, okay. So really generating it, unless all technology fails, is not really a skill worth having. But being able to understand all these things that are being spit out is helpful. But then you advance to the final class of my MBA is like strategic management. It's like the big kahuna. You have to put all the skills to the test, right? From finance to management to marketing, the whole thing. And the biggest piece of it, though, is like my final thing was actually at Best Buy. So you had to do the finance segment, but you also had to, given all of the data that you have that you spit out in the first 150 pages of your report, the last 50 pages is now construct a plan and a strategy, given all of what you know, for this company and what they're going to do and how they're going to leverage it and what's in line with their strengths and their weaknesses and the opportunities and the threats and the whole thing.
Daily live streaming was your answer, right?
Definitely. Yeah, that was it. But the reality of, and we will probably build robots that could even make that last 50
interpretation.
Pages. It's like, okay, but given all this, where do the robots think we should go? And if we just let the robots decide, I think what you end up with is like the social algorithms.
Sure.
It's like that's the content that wins.
Sure.
But the magic of humans is that algorithms and even other humans a lot of times can't predict what people actually desire or want or what will bring them joy or happiness or meaning.
It's basically things that you can't bake into a game system.
Yeah, so like it's possible the robots would have said whatever I said with the Best Buy situation. Let's say we program it. It's also possible they could say 1,000 different things. And so someone has to choose. And you can have the robots choose.
You build a robot choosing, but then you need a robot choosing.
Yeah, but eventually
choosing
it's like
all the way down.
The choosing has to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
that's
the
the skill. And then the murder. Then the murder.
But the paradise here is robots doing all of the grunt work.
Sure.
But then, of course, we're going to be very bad at this, and it's not going to happen. But human beings don't need to work anymore, and we can dance and sing and you know and express our humanity in myriad ways.
I remember having a long conversation with our good friend Matt, the consistently random Matt.
Yes,
That's what we'll name that. And Star Trek is that reality where eventually everything is solved and, you know, paradise is reached. And then it's like, all we have left is to explore.
The stars.
Because, like, we solved all our food and sickness and all the problems.
Yeah, get that UBI going.
And I basically said, this state will never occur. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this makes me an optimist or a pessimist.
It does not make you an optimist.
But it's like... This or really, I don't know what it makes me, but it's like I don't think this state ever occurs because, like, even if you, what's the moment when technology starts doing itself?
Singularity.
Singularity.
Yeah.
So even if you
starts doing itself,
it starts, you know, improving itself.
I think that's already happening.
So even if you hit like a singularity moment or you solve all these problems, like someone is going to be in control of that. This is how it goes. Yeah. And there's going to be wars over it, and it's going to be fights over it, just like any other resource ever.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but like if we have enough food, then like, and I was like, we have enough food right now.
Yeah.
And we have enough land right now, enough houses right now, enough healthcare right now.
Yeah.
And that's not how the system is happening because for lots of reasons.
Yeah.
I hope I would love it to be true. I would love it to be true. Anyways.
Maybe the robot movement will also trigger a consciousness shift in humanity at large.
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be cool.
Once everyone's just plugged into the VR and doing their thing.
Let's check in with the live chat, shall we? Hi, everybody.
Yeah, we got off onto that one.
How you doing? Yeah, I think we're just going to do that at the start of these streams while everybody kind of piles in.
Worth knowing, too.
This is honestly what we used to do when the starting soon stream was playing.
That's right.
We'd just be talking about this stuff, and then we'd be like, all right, let's go live.
Yeah, like the Arby's clip on accident.
Yeah, exactly.
So after, I'm going to finish the agenda out real quick. After the 12-second learning fab, that's what we started with.
Uh-huh.
That's how we got there, just so we're clear. Then I think we're just supposed to mention, and maybe we'll mention it.
We can mention it right now.
All right. What are we mentioning?
I have made the brave decision.
Courage over here.
To not see any Outsiders previews whatsoever. So that
Outsiders being the next fab set.
Aside from the ones I've already seen. So that we're going to come into our first Outsiders release stream and do a draft wherein I will have not seen any of the cards.
Are we doing the hands up 8-person draft again?
Yeah, we probably should do something like that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Or like a sealed. We might do a sealed where I literally don't know what any of the cards do. And excellent. I cannot wait to experience that. Because like you try to do this sometimes too, but it's impossible because you want to go to pre-releases and stuff.
For Fab, it is impossible. But I do it with a lot of other games. Like Marvel Champions, like I've started ignoring until I have it in my hand.
So we're going to do the interesting part about the Outsiders release content is that I will go in completely blind.
That's the only interesting thing.
Yeah, everything else boring.
Totally bland.
Totally boring.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
But yeah, and then you can see my my crazy assessments and wrong takes on things, and it'll be fun to explore that together.
Yeah. So Outsiders blind for Steven.
Blind Outsiders, yeah.
And then rounding out at the end, potentially playing some games.
Yeah, maybe we'll play some games.
Using your Bolton
we should talk about the decks that we took to our ProQuest, why, and of course how that went, and then maybe we'll play against each other because I will lose to Briar, and that'll be fun.
Okay.
And then
that'd be good for my morale.
You can play like Oldhim or something or Phi. And
I have them.
I can take that on, and then we can flip it if you want, and just kind of see where the meta is with our decks.
Yeah,
in particular.
Which we'll get into the story of your experience here
right.
soon. Let's catch up with chat.
Live chat. Let's check in. Frank Levy, don't know anything about Fab. Just here for the philosophical reflections. Well, Frank, I didn't know that until now, but I'm glad that we at least had a combo of vague meaning. Alex Becker, greetings all. What's up, Alex? Hope the mail's going well for you, or if your time off is today, I hope that's going for you well as well. Van, sup, fellas? Van is here, says Taylor. Stream can start. That's right.
Let's go.
Taylor, I've been saying it's been a while, but I have bought things from Facebook ads that were useful. So there you go. Azureth Strife, hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Got top 4 in our 50+ person ProQuest this weekend on Red Line Dromi. I am not hungry for that PTI. We're probably now hungry for that PTI. More PQs this weekend. 50-plus person, red line Dromai. I freaking love it. This meta is awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
We'll talk about the depth of my despair, but Dromai's on my potential horizon.
Yes. Great. Dromai's kicking. They know what they're doing over there at FAB HQ. Van, I buy more due to these streams than any commercial. That's hilarious. Frank says a commercial that almost tricked me into going to Burger King recently.
Wow.
Must have been a heck of a commercial.
Yeah,
Peter
man, they don't even have the meat.
Commercials have the opposite effect on me now. I actively avoid Burger King because I can't stand that stupid have it your way jingle. Peter, I avoid Burger King because it's inedible. It's the worst food.
Well, I think it's a good time to mention a word from our sponsor, Burger King. Let's get the patties in here.
Have it your way.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if suddenly we were actually sponsored by Burger King?
Burger King. Robert and I were talking about this recently, back when we really were scraping the barrel, and it was 6-7 years ago, and we had like a Groupon or something. It was very strange. There was like a deal at Burger King.
Man,
you get 2 Whoppers
Groupon?
for like $1.
You remember the Groupon just phase?
Oh man,
the deal site phase.
We played a ton of Groupon games. So we went to Burger King. We got 2 Whoppers.
All right.
I think it was $2. Like they had some kind of a thing going, and we ate them, and I had to go home afterwards. It was so bad. Like it was like if grease was electricity, I was being shocked throughout my body. Yeah. It was horrible, and I've never been back.
That's not a great recommend. A similar thing happened to me when they Domino's, I think, or
was it Little Caesars with that pretzel crust?
Little Caesar with the pretzel crust.
Dude, that sent
nacho
me home
cheese
too.
pizza.
That sent me home too.
I took like 2 bites, had to go home. Literally, I just had to go home.
And it has that it makes your teeth hurt. It's like a weird electricity of disgust is running through your body.
Yeah, it was really gross.
Frank Levi said, if Arby's commercials didn't have the meats, where would Zach's Beefy Boys be?
They'd be a lot skinnier.
Again, Arby's, poor strategy. Slotsky's, poor strategy. You guys need to get it together. Jim Van Fleet, Google is prompting me to watch Don Juan DeMarco on the basis of my interest in this video, and I guess we'll have to stick with human intelligence a while longer. Yeah, the algorithms aren't perfect yet, are they? Willie B, hey there, fellas. What's up, Willie? Floating Skull, David there. Hey, yo, Bolton is busted, folks. Ban him. I don't think you need to ban Bolton.
Yeah, I'm hesitant about that decision.
Yeah. Some commentary about the chat that we had. I appreciate that, everybody. Samuel can definitely agree. Best academic experiences for me were debating various trolley problems in philosophy class.
The old trolley problem.
Essays were easy grades, but not memorable in the least. Richard Bear Gardner, literally just dropping in because I miss you guys in the stream and I'm very excited for the future. Sadly, I'm running a D&D game this evening, so I can't stick around, but I'll catch up later. Well, that's a fine reason to leave. It'll be here for you whenever you're ready. Alex Becker saying classes tend to teach you how to memorize things. We've known this forever, right? Everyone said, yeah, this is really just not a great way to do it. And then what do? We just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it. Dysphoria suggesting Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, a book that's been recommended a million times to me that I have never read. Cardboard Cast. Oh no, they started on time. Gotta watch back from the start on 1.5.
Welcome to 2023, baby.
Mickey Thomas, is the world going to look like Earthborn Rangers?
Maybe.
That's
one way to clear it out.
Yeah, maybe.
I hope we don't have to go through that level of catastrophe to get there.
Yeah, maybe we will, But hopefully not. But we could make big machines and stuff that clean the earth. That seems reasonable.
I'm still kind of counting on that.
Yeah.
It
kind of feels like the only way out now, doesn't it?
Some biological, what do you even call it? Just eats plastic.
Bio machines.
It's just goes out there and consumes all the...
Mm-hmm. You know what I've always thought is I think the way there's going to be a bacteria we develop, I think there already is, that eats plastic.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of plastic in us now as humans. So be careful, because that's the kind of thing that could suddenly eat all of us. Mm-hmm. If that bacteria goes and then suddenly we're getting eaten,
that'd be
not the ideal.
Well, except for anyone that doesn't have a lot of plastic going on.
There you go. Maybe that's the Earthborn Rangers future. You just gotta clear out the plastic people, of which I'm certain I am one. But maybe it would just take the microplastics and leave the flesh.
Yeah. Hopefully.
That's how that's gonna work, right?
Yeah.
Frank says I can push a button and have a computer beat my dad at chess, but it's more fun to beat him myself, which is true. But this is also where game development gets interesting, because the more linear and contained your decision tree is, the more that a robot is just going to solve it.
I still think you could write AI to play 1 billion games of FAB and tell you the perfect deck.
Yeah, but even if it's the perfect deck, there would be a deck that can beat it.
Maybe.
So if you know I have the perfect deck, I still have the human input / situation.
Well, maybe the robot could tell us the second best deck.
Well,
and you can't tech against both.
But aren't we kind of playing that game anyway?
What game?
Don't we know what the best deck is right now?
We think we know.
It's Icelander.
But
in
like,
the hands
it's
of
sort of
Michael
like the
Hamilton.
robots that can beat the chess masters. It's like...
There could be a way. I mean, there's definitely a way to beat that deck.
Yeah.
But that's the interesting thing, is it's just an odds machine. But it doesn't, like, my Swiss journey, Evan's Swiss journey, and your Swiss journey are all very different.
Yeah.
Even if we had the best deck.
It's an odds machine, but also if you could run the simulation enough, instead of... Like right now, you have to make a lot of decisions about deck building off of experience and limited amounts of data. I'm talking 10 games, right? You start choosing like, one example was I was debating Nimblism or Red Captain's Call.
Yeah.
It's like I can test that to a degree, but I can't test that 1,000 times against every individual hero.
Right.
And then decide like, percentage-wise, which one's better.
Right. And the AI is not quite there yet.
Yeah.
On that stuff. I mean, it'll probably get there. It would have to run through what all possibilities could be in my opponent's hand. What's the most likely possibility? I think the AI would have a difficulty to generating guesses as to what my opponent has based on what they've done the past 3 turns, like that kind of stuff. That's where it's going to take a while. Wittisser, I took Dory to my first ProQuest and got 5th out of 11. Love it. It was awesome, but I hate the concession rules. Yeah, we were kind of joking about the concession rules on ours as well. You just have to make a satire of it, and then everyone's like, yeah, this is all dumb. Everett Irby saw way more Bravo than I thought it would in the PQs.
Man, I'm
Bravo's
telling
hot.
you, I did too. It was uncomfortable.
Domino's never gets the orders right, apparently. There's a number of people that have said that too. So that's worth noting. We're just taking down the big brands.
You know what?
today.
Actually, let's swing it for the big brands here. Let's talk about Pizza Hut for 1 second.
Okay. Nobody out pizzas the Hut.
If you're out there and you work at Pizza Hut or know someone, I mean, like, you know, not like you work at a Pizza Hut, but like if you have influence
At the
Pizza
corporate
Hut,
office, you mean?
fix your app. Your app doesn't work. It doesn't let me check out.
Can you imagine? They really have an app that doesn't let you check
100%
out?
is crazy.
They're losing millions of dollars a day.
It is crazy. I'm telling you, you need to fix your app. It ain't working. Could just be a local thing. Could be Tulsa. But like,
Can I really unpack the fact that you're trying to order Pizza Hut also?
it has nothing to do with me. It's my wife's favorite pizza, and the moment the app didn't work the first time, I would have been like, I'm never ordering from this place again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out. But she, like, it's her favorite, and so here's what we do.
Marriage is about
Here's
compromise.
the other thing. If you call and you place an order, it's $12 a pizza. If you do it on the website or on their app, it's $6 a pizza. So of course you want to do that.
Yeah, right.
So the way it will let me check out is I order the pizza and I select that I'm going to pick it up in person.
Yeah.
Even if I want delivery.
And then you call.
And then I call and I wait and I explain to whoever happens to be working at Pizza Hut these days what they normally do. And then they will manually fix it because we live like 2.5 miles from where they're at. But you cannot get a delivery to your house through the app.
Oh, man, you must love your wife to go through all that.
Yeah.
That is outside of character for sure. That Bigfoot pizza they used to have was a huge favorite at our house.
Nice.
That big giant rectangle that was cut into little rectangles.
yeah.
That thing was the jam. Do you see Little Caesars' new play? They're trying to get everybody not to buy that Hot and Ready $4.99.
That's the brand.
So here's what they do. They combine half of a Hot and Ready.
Oh, no.
The other half is the cheesy bread. And they call it a bread and slice or
Bake and
something.
take meal. Or...
$7.99.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll just take the $5 pizza. Thank you very much.
That's the old sucker radar right there.
Man.
No, it's the same thing. The cheesy bread just doesn't have pepperoni on it.
Yeah, of course. That's like the Arby's having the meats.
Yeah, dude.
It's like, look, you are the Hot and Ready. Let's just own the brand.
Just make it $1 more. If you have to, just do it.
I know, dude.
Just do it.
Inflation. You have something to blame.
Cyanide Scorpion bringing the best comment here. Steven, congrats on top 4. Great job piloting Bolton. Which of
The
course
best comment, clearly.
is true. Joshua Burkhart. I remember Joshua Burkhart. Was great meeting you guys at Unplugged. My semifinal match was rough against Bolton, but he was an excellent player. I think after the match, I felt much more comfortable on how I'm supposed to play it. So much of it is that.
Yeah.
I had to jam Talisharn for 2 weeks, and then I was like, okay, I'm back in shape.
I think a hero like Bolton, I was talking to you and Evan this weekend about that. It's just like, you're going to win some number of games just because people have not played against it.
Yeah, true. But also, it's just a slightly worse version of the aggro decks you're already playing against. With a little bit more weirdness involved.
Well, you have a better... You can usually block better.
You can.
You got a lot of threes, you have your armor, and you got your soul shields.
But otherwise, what am I going to do? I'm going to try to play a bunch of attacks and do damage.
Yeah.
Because I have no disruption.
But I think
none.
A lot of the decks that prey on aggro decks are assuming they're going to have bad blocking hands.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of old him, he can do pummel. He only has so many pummels.
That's true.
And he has only so much dominate. And so, if you can actually just block and slow it down, it can be hard for him to ever score damage.
That has been my experience, for sure. I do wonder, though, if an old him truly just awful fatigue old him strategy would work against... It would work against Bolton, by the way.
Yeah.
Because your game plan revolves around you fatiguing yourself. Like, every card I play generally requires an additional card to die. So, like, even Assassin can be sketchy. Because, like, by the time I'm 15 soul in, it's like, you only had to banish so many cards to run me out. And they can. So watch out.
Yeah. Did you get to the end of the chat?
Yes, we're at the end here. Yeah.
Well, I say, you ready to dive into this thing?
Yeah, dude. Let's do it.
So I say, first segment is going to be ProQuest recap and experience.
Let's talk about it.
So
you went to the first one.
Yes.
Saturday.
So
tell me about it.
Let's back it up a little bit. November of 2022, first World Championship for FAB. After that event, I took a break.
Yes.
Last year was crazy. The OP schedule, the timing of the announcements, the traveling, everything.
And you had a good Worlds run, I feel like, right?
Yes-ish.
Was it above break even?
Yeah. I finished in like the 70s or something, or 80s.
Like place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super good.
Yeah. I lost my last 2 games. The last 5 rounds were blitz. I lost my last 2 games. The second to last game I lost because I didn't realize Endless Winter gave you frostbites for the equipment you block with as well.
Yeah.
So I felt very comfortable, and I could have easily just taken the damage and probably like high odds win that game. So that was not great.
I remember that. I almost made that same mistake the other day too. And I was like, Zach told me about this, and I was like, oh right, because the armor counts. The armor counts.
Cards you add. Or cards you added to block or something. So it's like equipment or cards that you're adding to block with, so it technically counts.
Yeah.
And then I had a really close game against Yangji in the last round, and it was just like really close. So either of those games I win, I'm top 64. If I win both, I'm top 32.
Yeah.
So it was definitely not bad, but point of it was after Worlds, even before Worlds, I was starting to get like a little burnt out. I need a break.
A lot. Yeah.
There were a few times I was looking to take a break, and then they were just like, boom, inject, like the Vegas calling, and then we got COVID, and then it's like road to national season, and ProQuest season, and all that stuff. So the reason it is relevant to my ProQuest experience is because 2 weeks ago, Monday, is when I started actually testing again.
Okay, so you got back into it.
Yeah, so started playing again, and hadn't really messed with, the last set is Dynasty. I get Uprising and Dynasty mixed up in my, what is Dynasty?
Dynasty.
A lot of people have been talking about this Royal Briar deck, which is just Crown of Dominion with cash-ins, and the idea is that you're trying to hit heroics as fast as possible.
So you're filtering as much as you can.
Yeah, so the cash-ins essentially are just you have the card you see, which is cash-in. You play it for free with the gold. You draw 2 extra cards, and you can kind of get to where you're going faster. So I just started. I'd played tons of Briar, so I started there. It's like I just need to mess around with Royal Briar, see how I feel. First place I started was Royal Belittle Briar. I've never liked Belittle, not 1 ounce of me has. I don't understand why. It actually feels like it should be a card.
Feels like something you would like. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
kind of unfair
with Briar. From the moment she came out, I was more interested in Earth Briar than Lightning Briar, and for whatever reason, I've said this as far back as Pro Tour 1, I don't mind blocking.
Yeah.
And she has the Earth embodiments, and used to, it was really crazy because she'd have several.
Can you imagine?
I can. Yeah, it was awesome. It's like, oh, I'm going to block with this 2-block non-attack action for 6. Cool.
How did that get out the door? It can't be. It's unreasonable.
I remember you just on stream sitting there being like, I just don't understand how does this happen?
I was vindicated.
Yeah, but even now, with a single embodiment of Earth, her non-attack actions are efficiently blocking for 3 or 4. And I like to block with Briar, is the point. So Belittle is not good at blocking.
Right.
Because it's a 2-block. It means you have to have Minimalism, which is also a 2-block. And it's more conditional. Like, one of the worst things that happens with Briar is what we call the potato.
Yeah.
And in her case, usually what that means is, like, you took some damage, you put out a Mount Heroic, you created an embodiment of lightning, you put a Nimblism in Arsenal, and then you draw your hand, and you've got no attacks.
Yeah.
So instead of playing, like, an attack with Go Again at +3 with Heroic, into a pump, into another attack, into a sword swing, you're like, create a rune chant, swing the sword for 2.
Yeah.
Like, it's really bad.
And you lose the game.
Yeah, it's like the difference between doing 3 and like 30 damage on a turn. And like, can't, potatoes are bad. So Belittle is another card that is conditionally, like a 1 for 3 that blocks for 2. If you don't have the condition to go get the Minimalism, is like really inefficient. That's not, if that card text is blank, that's a bad card.
Yeah.
And on top of that, to use the Minimalism, you either need to have a need for resources, like if you go get a blue, or you need to have another attack that you're pumping. Now, if you're triggering Belittle, it means you have the other attack in your hand. But for Belittle to trigger, you have to have an attack in your hand that only attacks for 3. So it's possible.
Which is not like Ravenous Rabble or Scar.
You can run Yellow Snatch. You can run like Arcanic Crackle, which is a 0 for 4-ish. Mm-hmm. Like you start running that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Obviously, other Belittles also would trigger this thing. But you have essentially, on the turn, you're trading a 0 for 4 on a normal turn for a lower power attack to then turn on the Belittles. But then obviously once you play the Belittles, you're left with everything else. So the goal of a Belittle Briar, like that's what Matt Folks won the Pro Tour 2 with, is Slamma-Jamma. Like, you actually don't want the game to go very long. You want to hit this, you want to get the cards, you want to have the resources, you want to filter, you're filtering the Minnoisms out, and you're getting a thin deck, and you're hitting the Heroics, and you're just trying to end the game quickly.
Trying to crush.
So I was like, well, if Royal Briar is doing the same thing, this will go. Like, let's try it. And there was one game I won on turn 2. Like early. It was like game 2 or 3. I was like, oh man, this is crazy. It's like,
what does that look like?
So my turn 0 is Mount Heroic, create Embodiment of Lightning, Arsenal of Belittle. And then my turn 2 is Belittle, show an attack, go get a Minnoism, cash in, draw 2, Minnoism for +3 in the Embodiment of Lightning into God only knows what. Yeah. Well, it was an attack, and then it was also Force of Nature.
Yes,
that's it. And then they could cover the first thing, but then they couldn't cover the second thing. And then I drew a card, and I had a Snapdragon Scalar, so I play a Snatch, and it hits, and I draw 2 cards, and then you're rolling, right? Yeah. But after about 10 games with that deck, I was like, this ain't it. This you can win some games randomly like that, but it's just way too many conditional on top of conditional on top of things. So then I just started experimenting with Royal Briar more normal. And then it was also asking the question, like, is Royal, like back at Pro Tour 1, I was playing Tome of the Arcanite, but I would only play it against Chain and Starbow.
Yeah, the YOLO card.
Yeah, and it's literally like, I'm unfavored here anyway. I can play this card 50% of the time. I'm still just unfavored. The other 50% of the time, it might actually get me the half turn I need to like win a game or something. And it worked. I definitely won games at Pro Tour 1 because of Tome of the Arcanite. So I was like, well, what if this is your Tome of the Arcanite package? Like, you can just switch out the crown. You can play 2 or 3 cash in. Let's see. And actually, I love that deck. But there was actually one thing that I didn't understand. This is a good rule to explain, which is on Talisharn, which is a tool that you can play online with, which you might tell about in your experience leading up to your ProQuest.
I'll talk about it.
The way cash-in reads is essentially instead of paying the cost, you can spend a gold to play cash-in. So instead of paying 4, you can spend a gold token to draw 2. And on Talisharn, at least at the time, if I had like 4 Frostbites, the way it would interact is I'd play cash-in, it would spend the gold, and it would cancel the Frostbites and not make me pay the Frostbites.
But that is not how it works.
That is not how it works, because additional costs are actually tabulated after replacement effects happen.
Yeah.
So unlike, and it was more confusing for me because I played Viserai for a long time, and I would run like Amplify the Arcanite, which is a cost reducer. But the reduction can actually get you out of frostbites. In that, like you have 4 rune chance and you have a frostbite, you can play this for free.
Yeah.
So in my mind, it was very intuitive. It's like, oh, there's like a reduction thing going on. Like it cancels it out. And Ice Heroes are historically my worst matchup as Briar. Like Icelander particularly is just miserable for me.
You're an aggro dude.
Yeah. So it was like, oh, wait a second. My strategy into Icelander already was I need to kill you as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I cannot let you set up. Once you get the Insidious Chills out, game over. Like I'm just out of this game. So I was testing. I had the Royal Briar going on, and it was like, this is actually really good. Like they give you a Frostbite, and then you just play this, cancel the Frostbite, and draw 2 cards.
Yeah, because notably important to note, if you don't know this, because it replaces the cost, when you play Cash In, it's still free if you ditch the gold, and all the Frostbites go away, because it's after you play a card. So you do not suffer the tax of Frostbites at all with a card like Cash In.
Yeah, so which is
incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So on Saturday, I actually played a Royal Briar at the first ProQuest at Evan Unplugged, which is why I told that entire story. And the conclusion, I mean, I could go through it all, but ultimately I went 4-2. And then I got like 11th or 12th or something. So I had the record to make the top 8. I just lost too early. And the things I lost to were an Oldhim, which is not exactly shocking. And it was really, all the games were really good. I had a lot of really good opponents that day. But Oldhim and then Lexi. Friend Matt on Lexi.
Just can be devastating.
Yeah,
Ice
and Lexi is
stuff.
Very popular. Not popular. She's seemingly very good right now. And that's kind of the consensus. And she's always for Briar been a tougher situation. In my experience with that match. But in that game, I'm kind of glad I lost because I was playing and I was against a friend and I did the gold cancels out. He played a red Arctic Incarceration. I had 3 Frostbites.
So good.
And then I was like, oh, I'll play this thing. It cancels the Frostbites. I draw 2. LOL. Like, very good. I still lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how bad that was.
That's real bad. Lexi can be so bad.
Yeah.
Well, always is. Not even can be. Always so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hard.
Yeah, very, very challenging. The new arrows made her some of her worst matches better, so she's more popular.
So
but
good.
So ultimately, it was definitely not a bad showing at the tournament. But then I learned the rule about the frostbites and the gold, and the meta in Edmund was really weird. So I think there was 1 5 player, and then 2 Briars, and maybe 1 Viscerai. Bolton ended up winning. So our
Evan
there. Ended up winning on Bolton. But like the cut was bizarro. It's like 2 Oldhims, a Lexi, an Icelander, a Bolton, a Dory, a Bravo. It's just like it's just a strange.
It's all WTR meta.
Yeah, it's definitely not what I predicted. So looking at the meta. On the drive home that night, I was just debating what I should play the next day. And I was getting the sense that, like, Briar ain't it. Like, it's really not the deck I should be on, but I also don't have any other deck that Viscerai, I can make the case.
Yeah, you can always try to make the case for Vis.
I can always, I can definitely play it well, but I also wasn't convinced that was the answer, because he also struggles into Icelander. So I ended up deciding to play a list a lot more like my Worlds list, which I call Beefy Briar. And it's leaning into the strategy of a higher density of 3 block non-attack actions and less dense blue earth cards, because outside of Autumn's Touch and Tome of Harvest and Blue Earth or Surge-ish, you really don't want to play the other ones. Like Blue Burgeoning is not it. That's not really where you want to be. Same with the Blue Weave Earth. It's like, it's fine, but you know the hands where you have a full hand, Blue Weave Earth, if you don't have Mount Heroic in your hand, is just not that good. So instead, it was like, what if I played my world strategy was, what if I played cards that were more playable and had better blocking so that I can block out, live longer, and just be patient to get to the heroic turns instead of...
It's usually the way to win a FAB game.
Yeah. Now, in the Worlds meta that was heavily Fi, that deck is one of the reasons I played it is that I feel favored against Fi. I can block very well at the 4 block range, and so I can just stop a lot of their hit effects in like a very card efficient way. at this tournament or at Edmund, it's like there was one FI.
Yeah.
So that's not that important
everything.
anymore, right? But you can at least try to like fatigue Lexi kind of thing because you have the blocking potential. And all
Yeah,
that
because
stuff.
a lot of times you don't have a choice because you just literally cannot do anything
Yeah,
else.
like I guess I will Arsenal and
I'll
pass.
keep
Yeah.
blocking until you let me do anything, and they just don't. And then either they run out or you die. That's the game.
That's usually the outcome that happens. You either stop them from shooting you with arrows or
That's it.
yeah. So anyways, I made the decision going into Sunday to go ahead and pivot to Beefy Briar. A lot of Oldhim around. Like he was the most popular deck in Edmund, and I feel pretty good about my Beefy Briar Oldhim because he doesn't have a lot of dominate. I was mentioning that earlier.
You can also single card the hammer.
Single card, almost every hand you can single card the hammer.
So good.
And then you can also like triple card 12 or like a lot of times 11.
Yeah.
And then swing with a 0 for 4.
Yeah.
It's like it's very card efficient.
Send Oldham's strategy right back at him.
It's seriously, it's like literally just like, oh, snatch. It's like, well, you can't let that hit because it's going to give me an embodiment and a card for Arsenal. But like, if you block with 2 cards here, you're giving me a 2-card Oldhim hand, which is just a hammer. And then anyways.
Yeah.
So you can just be patient and really make your Mount Heroics pay off in the Oldhim match. And then ended up, I was feeling good. My first match of the day on Sunday. I mean, I'm really excited to get to your whole.
This is the Tulsa PQ that you play.
Yeah. On Sunday is against Adori, which is also a tough match for Briar, actually. That's the tougher thing. Huh. And I was able to win, barely. It was against a local named John. It was a very close game. He had a hand, honestly, where if he had just drawn a blue, he wins. And he had 4 reds. It's like...
It's the Dory situation.
Yeah.
That's the warrior situation right there.
I literally was looking at it, I was like, oh man, this is bad. And I could just see his face. Yeah. And I was like, that guy's got 4 reds in his hand. I've seen this before. And then round 2, I played against an Icelander. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, goodness. And I actually won the game, which is...
We're all amazed when we win against Icelander.
Oh, my... the fact that I beat Dory and Icelander round 1 and 2, I'm like, I'm going to win this tournament. Mm-hmm. Like, this is... I've overcome my worst. This is all downhill from here. Yeah. Round 3, I get paired against a good friend, Eric Wainwright.
Eric's the best.
Who I really don't ever want to see in a tournament if I want to win.
You guys played a lot of Destiny together too. He's one of these. He's one of these players that you just know is operating on a slightly different intellectual level when they're evaluating the game and the cards.
Their ability to do the math, run the risk, and make the right risk decision consistently is just on a different...
It's like Hamilton's the same way.
100%.
Frustrating.
So he was actually on a what we're now referring to as the Goldhim list. Cool. Which is the Royal Oldhim. Yeah. And he's using one of my favorite cards in the entire game, Earthor Bounty. And I have that deck with him. I ended up playing it. And he's on a totally different Oldhim. It's just aggro, man. It's crazy to watch. Yeah. And I knew this. I knew what he was doing. I had seen his list and we talked about it. And as Beefy Briar, I felt pretty good. It's like, well, like he doesn't want to block, so I'll get my embodiments, and then I block really efficiently. So unless the attacks he sends have dominate or he hits the right pummels, this will be pretty good for me. And it was a really tight game. At the very end, I think I made 2 decisions that were not necessarily wrong. I had a moment where I could play Tome of the Arknight or Arsenal it. Mm-hmm. So I could Tome and then swing sword, or I could Arsenal it. And health totals were getting low, and it was like, man, if I play this and hit, this is so good. But if I miss, now I just don't have an Arsenal, and I hadn't seen any of my Tome of Harvest. Like this could be such a bad decision. Had I played it, I think I win the game.
Really?
Like because then I draw 2.
Did you count the 2? You did. Yeah.
I shouldn't have. But it was a very close, very good game. So now I'm 2-1, but I'm still feeling all right.
Yeah,
like,
it's
cool.
Eric, right? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. You got it.
Round 4, Lexi. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh no. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. No. This was going so good.
It's like you hit the iceberg.
Yeah. But then I was playing as Lexi, and I felt pretty far ahead. Yeah. And Lexi's deceptive because you feel ahead, but just be ready for a 20 damage turn that you can't do anything about.
3-of-a-kind rain razors.
There was a 3-of-a-kind rain razors in a situation where he had an endless arrow at the end that I couldn't cover.
Right. And then dropped it in a bullseye afterwards. Yeah.
So
that's how that goes.
Yeah. And then it ended up in this really like super tight game. And I actually thought I was going to get there. At the very end, he sends an endless. He has a 2-card hand, or Yeah, I think it was 2 card.
Wow, you got Lexi blocking. You're feeling good.
Yeah, I was feeling really good. And he essentially sends an Endless Arrow. That's what it was. It was already in Arsenal, I think. So he sends an Endless Arrow. And he played 2 Rain Razors. And I'm sitting there doing the math. It's like, all right, well, if he has Rain Razors and I don't overblock, then I lose. If he doesn't have it and I don't overblock, I'm definitely going to win. Mm-hmm. Like, I've got him at that health total. But if I do overblock, I'm just going to make him block and we're going to do this again. And he's going to get the Razors at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I decided not to overblock it. He has the Rain Razors and he kills me and I die.
You take 2.
So then I'm dead. Yeah. Then the last round, I get paired against Ray on Bravo.
Ray was on a tear that day.
Yeah. And I usually feel good into Bravo. Beefy Briar is a little less good because Bravo, if he dominates, gives you a bigger hand.
Yes.
And Beefy Briar actually wants to block. So it's better against Oldham. Because like I can block with a couple cards and do my thing.
That makes total sense. It's funny.
And we had a really close game. He ended up beating me. So I finished 2-3.
Ouch.
Which is probably the worst I've done at a tournament that I can remember.
Yeah.
Like in a long, like that, outside of maybe like an 0-2 drop at something. Mm-hmm. But like I rarely get to the 3-loss level and am still playing a tournament.
Yeah.
So, and it was just like, the whole day was brutal. Mm-hmm.
Started with Hope.
Well, it was like Dory, Icelander, Oldham, Lexi, Bravo.
Yeah.
That is not a, like, those can be all very taxing and stressful. So I just got done. I was just like exhausted. And that's where I was at.
Over it.
Meanwhile, let's get you to that.
Great.
Let's get you to that moment. How did we get to that moment for you?
Well, so first of all, gotta shout out Evan, he works here at Covenant. Evan took a Bolton list that was a very different kind of Bolton list to Edmund and won the ProQuest, and that was fantastic. He and I had been talking about Bolton a little bit the week previous, and Evan and I were like in line on a lot of concepts. Which is like, people are way undervaluing generics in these Bolton lists. They're way overvaluing Lumina hits and V charges. And Bolton's fundamental math is absolute garbage. It's horrible. So, and examples of this are Bolt of Courage for my turn. It's a 2-card hand for 3 damage. Horrible. If you imagine that every card, again, is valued at 3, and I take 1 card from my hand to go into my soul, that card later on is going to have to generate really more than 3 value to make that entire Rue Goldberg machine worth it. And so you look at when does a card from soul generate more than 3 value, and it's actually not often. I mean, you can always chuck it to swing Raiden in certain situations, so like card 4-3 is kind of there. But then otherwise, it's like Beacon, it's going to be worth 1. You've got, occasionally you use it to give Go Again to do something for 4, but that's already factoring in a 3 for the card itself. So you give a soul to get a 4 attack on the chain, but now that's really only 1 value being generated by that soul, you know? So it's finding those lines, and then it's like, where are they? Via the Vanguard, Luminous Ascension are the ones. Yeah. And then otherwise, soul is not that important. So the philosophy becomes more about this whole idea of like building soul over time and then doing these giant things doesn't work. So I don't ever really want to have more than 1 or 2 soul, because otherwise I didn't block when I could have. Yeah. And so we were talking about a lot of these concepts and really actually got crazy and explored like let's just run wild on generics. We're talking about Adrenaline Rush, Scar, Life for a Life. I mean, just put it in. And Evan comes from Runeblade land. Yeah. So he's approaching Bolton from Runeblade. I'm approaching it from Warrior. And then he kind of has his concept and decides to run with it. I'm like, I'm going to play a little more traditional. He wins the FAB ProQuest. Now, here's the crazy thing. Let me pull his list up while we have this discussion. Evan did a phenomenal job. Yeah. Just an incredible performance.
I watched him play his top 8, and
he was on, wasn't he?
He was definitely on.
Yeah. It feels good when you start rocking. And you got to watch out for Evan. He's going to get you. But here's the fascinating thing. So this list has 3 Scars. It has 3 Blue Captain's Call, which is an excellent blue for Bolton. For Runeblade reasons, right?
Runeblade love Captain's Call blue.
We got 3 Enlightened Strikes. I'm trying to think of it in my head. 3 Soul Food. He ran 3 Soul Food. He's got 3 Snatch. So this is a very 2-block and generic heavy list. Yeah. So it's more of a gas kind of list.
But like his warrior cards are blocking 3, plus you got armor.
Yeah.
So you can make up for that a little bit.
See, you're in Runeblade land too, which is like, 12, 15, 2 blocks, who cares? Like most of your other cards block 3. Me, like having 5 2 blocks is like my list doesn't block well anymore. Like it's absurd.
Oh, I'm used to it. You just draw a hand of 4 reds that all block 2.
Yeah, no way. Like it's so scary to me as a word. I'm like, disgusting. This is just garbage. But here's the notable thing too, and this is why all of these results in card games at large, and particularly in FAB, where matchups are really important, and you see a lot of diversity in the matchups right now, your path on Swiss is extremely important.
Totally.
So like,
and in the cut.
So you not making the top 8, or you looking at Evan's list and saying, oh, that list is what won the tournament. It's like Evan with that list won the tournament, but also it doesn't really reflect accurately on, it's not an even playing field for everybody.
Yeah.
So the list is a factor, the player is a factor, the matchups and the schedule is a factor. So the matchups for Evan, when I saw this, it blew my mind. Dory first round, Dory second round. Oldhim, loss, third round. Dromai fourth round, Viserai fifth round, Dash sixth round. Okay?
Yep.
In those matchups, Ice is non-existent except for the Oldhim that wins.
Which was the loss.
Then we go to the top 8. Dash, Viserai, Dory for the win.
Yeah, it's just perfect.
It's like...
It's just exactly what you want.
It's incredible. And so all these Dories, and I think his list is specifically in a place to do well against this kind of a matchup spread where he's able to put gas on in ways that my list can't. Yeah. He's got those scars that are slapping. He's chaining snatches. So if you start getting these lists to start blocking a lot, they're sunk.
Yeah.
Dory wants these full hands. She wants to bring a lot of that pressure for you. So that's also a tale of my top 8 or my ProQuest, his ProQuest, all these Bolton ProQuest finishes either under the curve or in the top 8 and the top 4 in the finals. All of the lists that we're talking about, whether it's Dash or Briar or Oldhim, Eric winning the ProQuest with Oldhim, well, technically winning, Tim winning the ProQuest with Icelander that we had on Sunday. Like all of that, the context of these matchups always misses that. And so it's important to not think, I have the same list as this person and I did poorly, I must be a bad player.
Sure.
A lot of it has to do with what you play against, right?
100%.
So that's important to know. So my spread was, I came in on Sunday and I'm playing a list I'm calling Dinosaur Bolton, which is...
You should call it Old Man Shakes Fist at Cloud.
It's inspired by Evan's list because Evan's got this hot new, like Bolton thing.
He's got the Zoomer list.
It's the Zoomer list for sure.
Zoom, baby.
Yeah. And I've got the I still want to be able to block 3. I still want to have strong defensive game, and I want to have a good odds of charging cards every turn, so that when I see the V or the Lumina, I do have options to go in, and I still want to bring the combo in. So Evan was playing Raiden only. I attempted Raiden only while still having a decent amount of 3 blocks. Mm-hmm. And what I found was that against the real aggro decks, you are not fast enough.
You're just slower than them.
So what Evan did, I think, is basically made his deck fast enough to race the aggro decks. But in my mind, you're losing on the backside of Ice and Disruption because now you have a lot more 2 blocks and you're very disruptible. So that also changes the math on the other side of the matchup curve. So I wanted to have a good match into Disruption, as good as I could get it. And then whenever it came time for the real aggro decks, I would just go combo and try to win off of the combo hitting early enough. Yeah. So against Fi, I ran the combo. Against the Ruin Bloods, I ran combo. I can't beat Briar with Raiden. It's not possible for me.
I feel like Briar is one of the worst matches you could draw.
Yeah, because I give you enough time. Yeah. You will eventually find the heroics, and then I get blown out by force of nature.
The number of non-attacks that block for 3 or 4.
Yes.
It's uncomfortable. So even if you combo or even if you are having good turns...
Lumina 4 is pretty common for that Raiden deck, and it's just like one card.
I guess I'll just block it here.
Even the combo is hard against Briar because if you do hit those 2 or 3 4 blocks, because you're going to get the embodiment when it's my turn to combo, because I'm not going to block anything.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, if you can drop 2 or 3 cards at 4 with your armor suite, it's really bad.
Yeah, I'm always just saving the armor, and especially the Crown of Providence to get the card out of Arsenal to have yet another card to block your turn. Right.
But sometimes you draw a hand and it's all 3 blocks or 2 block attacks. And if you can combo off on that turn, if it all lines up, you have a shot into Briar. So Briar and Vis, because I don't know what Vis does anymore, but I just I just try to pitch blues to the hood whenever he's building up his run chance and then get the combo off. And then Dash, I found the combo was exceedingly effective against Dash. And the thing about Dash right now is you don't know if they're doing the Hanabi Blaster crazy build or the pistol long-term fatigue or the I don't know if anyone's doing the mech. Or some people doing the mech?
Yeah.
They doing the mech?
In a meta that is like Oldham, Icelander, Bravo, slowing down a little bit, if they can actually get there by turn 4 or 5.
It's strong. I've seen it happen on Talisharn.
And then they just like play all the defensive stuff and they're just slamming you with
and
the
they just they slam. So I found that the combo was super effective in a Dash. And most of these aggro decks, barring the Ruin Blades, and this is why it's bad, are having to block with attacks, which is going to pump your charges and your sabers.
But the Ruin Blades were like non-existent this weekend.
They were
at our events.
God bless them. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, I was over there drowning in the bottom of the lake.
For sure. So I think you can go the pure Raiden strategy and speed your deck up so that you have to be able to race aggro if you're going to do that. With Raiden, I didn't feel like I could get there on the race, certainly against really good aggro players. So
it's cool that Evan's strategy kind of tries to.
It does.
I think it does.
And it succeeded. You look at the matchups he had, it absolutely succeeds. So I try to high roll you on combo whenever you're faster than me. And then if you're disruptive, I go into a slower, more controlled Raiden setup. So my first matchup was into the worst matchup by far, which is Icelander. Icelander is uniquely positioned to tear apart everything Bolton tries to do. She's got hypothermia, so you can't give go again with Bolton's ability. She doesn't block with attacks, so that text doesn't matter. She's got a ton of 3-block non-attacks. She can always disrupt you with Blizzard, rip and go again. Bolton hates running pitch cards because you have to charge every turn anyway. So pitch charge card is already 3 cards in and you're doing 3 to 4 damage. It's horrible. Bolton wants to string out long, wider turns, and Icelander doesn't let you do that. 1 Frostbite in Bolton takes away half of your best lines in the deck, like Bolt of Courage, Steel Hand. Can't even do that kind of stuff anymore. Let me count the ways that Icelander is bad. And Icelander is positioned to beat aggro decks like Fi, etc. And Bolton is not even as fast as those decks, so you're getting punished for a metagame that you're even worse than the top contenders in the aggro side. So it's real bad. So what do you do? Bolton also doesn't really have access to big attacks. The biggest attack you've got in faction is Rising Solar Tide, which I ran 3 of and I actually love quite a bit. But it's a 1 for 5, so a 2-card 1 for 5 is not really worth writing home about. You also got Illuminate, 1-card hand, which is actually pretty strong into that matchup. And then you bring in you can bring in CNC. I wasn't sure whether I should all day. I change every time I play the matchup. Yeah. I don't know. Most of the time, it's not going to rip a card out of Arsenal. They're going to respond by playing. But it's a 2 for 6, and that can be reasonable. E-Strike for 7 became really important. Like 2-card hand or 3-card hand that you get an Arsenal in. The thing about Icelander is it's really, you get one moment up front, and then they can Frostbite you. And then you got to decide, am I pushing or not here? Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of hands you just don't push. You just send the 7, and then you Arsenal and set up. But what I found in testing Icelander is Spirit Lumina is the game.
Yeah.
You've got to get those things out. You've got to get it in. A lot of times the game ends on a Beacon 5, Beacon 6 because you charge up a lot over the course of the game. They turn your turn off with playing cards from their hand.
Yeah.
That gives them a weaker turn. You're left with increased soul. So what they generally can't account for is just swing in, they give you a Frostbite, you pay it off because you play to take flight, and then you beacon them for 6.
Yeah.
And that will end some Icelander games, which is great. So first round was Icelander. Had the match play out as expected.
I forgot that was the first round of the tournament for you.
Icelander's hard. Yeah. So bring in Raiden.
This is against 10.
Yeah, I do Norrund 2, Hood, and Gloves. I keep Tunic because that will pay off the Frostbite. You can respond to them playing the card to gain the money.
Or they use their helmet.
Yeah, so good to pay out the helmet. And then Snaps as usual. And the game plays out as I need it to. I get Spirit early. I land 2 Luminous. I think I even landed double Lumina that game. That gets me back in the game. Get Tim down to 1 for a turn or 2. He's able to manipulate it in a way, and you just see it slip out of your hands, right? The Striders get popped, and then all of a sudden, he has the damage that he needs. He hit me that time, I think, with a double Insidious trigger or something, if I remember, and that was it. I had the game win being presented, and then they hit you with the stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it feels close, even though it's really not. But Tim was like, that was exceedingly close.
Yeah.
So I get a first round loss, and I'm like, all right, fine. I don't play enough FAB to be good at this, whatever. Then
Lobby bar, let's go.
Yeah, lobby bar. Second round, play against Dash and Carolina, awesome opponent. And the Lord comes down from the heavens and says, no, you are going to be 1-1. I think by turn 2, I have Spirit and 1 or 2 Soul. I think I'd Soul Shielded something on turn 1. And then turn 3, I've pocketed a beacon. I draw 2 beacons, a Bolt of Courage, and a card, of course, that I can charge. And because Spirit's out, you don't need as much Soul as you used to combo, because it generates action points every time you play that Lumina. So my turn is Bolt of Courage, charge, beacon, Lumina, and I think I played it, or I used the snaps. Then I swung the sword, and then I beaconed twice over the block, and then triple Lumina is in. It all happens at instant speed.
Beacon to do whatever, and then you go get one. Beacon to go get another. Yeah. Play it. You have a bunch of action points. But your swords are +3 at this point.
It's +3, and then +1 if there's any blocks, which there wasn't from the attacks. So it's 3, and then 2, and then I think the bolt draw pulled me in the card I needed to pitch to the arms as well. So I got +1 on the sabers.
So you were at 9.
It was exceedingly stupid. So 8 swings at like 6 or 7.
And every time it hits, you're putting 3 cards in soul, getting 3 life.
Yeah, so it was just a complete train wreck. So that was cool. So I was like, all right, well, I guess that's the thing. You can high roll on these kinds of matches with the combo. So 1-1 into that. Then I went into Ian's Oldham. And that game went exceedingly well for me. Everything went perfectly. I ended up 16-0, I think, at the end of that, which Ian and I both were like, this should not happen against Oldham. Like, that was just a dream game. Everything flowed perfectly. I couldn't have stacked my deck better on that game. So 2-1, beat Oldham, feeling confident, kind of growing into like, all right, 2-1 going into Rafe's Dromai, which is like, Rafe, 2-1, let's go. Rafe hasn't played all that much, but he's just like, I'm just playing dragons and I'm winning. I was like, that's just how that goes. You're a Dromai player at heart. I think Dromai is heavily favored to Bolton. I don't know why there's a consensus that it's a hard matchup. I think I would take Dromai against, that would be my top 2 to 3, I think, give me this game every tournament if I can have it.
If you're Dromai.
No, if I'm Bolton. So, I want to play against Dromai.
Yeah.
I think it's almost the easiest thing.
I mean, all your stuff that says hit, it's like you just get to put a free thing in yourself from Arsenal.
You play Raiden, you've got access, you got 3 CNCs, you've got 3 Celestial Cataclysms, 6 Poppers is more than enough to screw them up. All of your seemingly weak charge cards that you begrudgingly have to play in other matchups. This is
good here, right?
This is the kind of stuff that you do, right? You attack Dromai for 4 with Take Flight. You swing Raiden into Dromai for 3. You give it go again. You finish the turn with a blue Bolt of Courage for 1 into a dragon. You draw a card, you arsenal it. Or a yellow Bolt of Courage into Kyloria. Draw a card, arsenal it. It's so good what you can do against those decks. So that was clean and free. So that was 3-1, beat Dromai. Then the final round, played against Dash, Matthew on Dash, and it's combo. And here's the Dash matchup. Do they hit the Pulse Wave Harpoon when you have the final piece of the combo in hand? If they do, you probably lose. If they don't, you probably win. And then secondarily, do you have the right equipment suite to prevent the T-Bone Magnetic Shockwave blowout? Because if you're a young Bolton player and you're hip and you're like, I'm about to combo, I'm going to block with my Courage and Gallantry like normal to prevent something from happening and getting max value out of my equipment. Yeah. And so then they swing, a zipper hit at you, and then you're like, oh, I'll block with these 2 things. And then they swing such as a T-bone at you, and they put more equipment in, and then they like close the chain, and then they magnetic, and then now you got to block with like 4 equipment. Yeah. And so all of a sudden your Courage is gone. Right?
Yeah, you can't lose your Courage.
It's out of here. So you don't do that. Instead, I ran Skullcap into that matchup for that reason. So you don't have to, like, if you
don't lose your helmet.
That's right. If you're on Dominion, the first time they T-bone you to a degree that you have to block with the helmet.
Even Providence, right?
It's gone. Yeah, Providence. Sorry.
I was going to say Dominion's actually really good for this.
Yeah, so you can, if you're running Halo, you can just bring a 0-block Halo and keep throwing it in front of T-bones instead. But I wanted the 3-block off Skullcap because I wanted time.
Yeah.
And I figured there
I
was
like that.
And then I started running it against Briar. I started running it against all of the aggro
I like
matchups.
blocking still.
It's like,
Yeah, plus especially the
I'm getting
blade
pounded
stuff.
during
It's
the combo.
The backup stop the swords from killing you moment.
Yeah.
It's actually really relevant.
Secret AB3.
That's the old school tech.
Yeah. And you know what happened in that game? Triple Lumina.
Well, you know what?
I just
Reading and weeping, baby.
just
We
came
got
right
3 of
in
a
again.
kind.
It was like turn 3 or turn 4. It was like 2 Luminas, Spirit on the board,
Man,
a
how
beacon,
nice.
and I was just like, oh.
The like winning in thing, just being like triple Lumina game over is such a relief.
You know what was crazy too? The turn before that, Matt played Pulse Wave Harpoon at a 2 boost, and so I had to reveal 2 cards. I revealed Spirit and Steel Hand.
You can't pick Spirit, right?
Neither one of them can be
Oh,
picked. It's
wow.
only into action cards, so can't pick either of those. And the third card is Lumina. So my next turn is play Spirit, Arsenal Lumina, and next turn I draw into the Lumina Beacon. So
Wow.
beautiful. So anyway, so combo off, triple Lumina, 4-1, going into the top 8. That's great.
That's good
Feels
feeling.
good.
Yeah.
There was 31 players at the event too, so we were one off
from
of
the
the
sixth round.
sixth
Yeah.
round. Yeah. So then we go into the top 8, and I'm against Bravo, which is a match that I feel exceedingly comfortable
That was
with.
Thomas, right?
Yeah, Thomas. I played you for the beginning of our FAB careers forever on
Especially
Bravo.
back at Bolton days even.
100%.
And that was back when Bolton was worse.
Yes. And because Bravo has gotten more popular, and because Dory has gotten so popular, and because there you are, yeah. Because there's even the versions of Old Him that are bringing in a lot more of those big attacks and Terra Sunder plays. I actually had 2 Steel Blade Shunts in my list for those reasons. Tunic Shun is still the best thing that Warrior does, by the way.
Dude, big D reacts out of Arsenal into Guardian is like the most painful thing ever.
For 0 cards, like just popping that Tunic for 6 block,
It's crazy.
that's oftentimes that is a 7 value
Yeah.
Tunic if you're blocking a big 6 swing. It's also oftentimes preventing an entirety of a crush effect for 1 card.
Yeah. I feel like you have such a great Bravo match, actually.
Oh, so good. So of course he's going to come in with big attacks and pummels, and you just have to be super patient. You watched that matchup. That was cool. And there were some big moments. He started off so hot. He had a pulverize pummel
Would dominate.
like first real turn of the game. And that was devastating. But I had a shunt in Arsenal, so I was able to at least get some value out of my cards before I got wiped away basically by the pummel. And then that continued, and then the hit effects were coming, and I was slowly kind of blocking it out, building up some soul. I remember I pitched a V first turn really early, and I was like, I need to make it down to this, because at that point I'm going to have hopefully weathered all the pummels, and I'll be in a position where I can actually get there. And that actually turned out to work. There was a number of very fortunate Soul Shield in Arsenal when he decides to not block and go for a big dominate. Did that. The most fortunate part of the game.
Oh man, I was watching this. So crazy.
He launched the. It was a dominated something at 11 after the pummel. So it was coming in at.
It was a crippling crush, right?
It was a
No.
no. It was something else. It was like a spinal 9, 10,
Or like
11.
it was
a
choke
7.
slam?
Choke slam or crush the week.
I think it was Crush of the Week.
Crush the week wrecks Bolton because all of my cards are 3 or less, even V.
I'm pretty sure it was Crush of the Week with the red pommel.
Crush the week. This was towards the end of the game. Crush the week, red pummel. I have a sink below in Arsenal, so I block with one. I block with 1 off of Brave Forge and the sink to block 5. And then I sink a card. I draw the Soul Shield off the sink, and then I play the Soul Shield out of hand to get to exactly 11. And that was when I think the game ended.
Yeah.
If I don't draw the soul, I was playing not to draw the Soul Shield. I mean, I gave myself a shot, but otherwise it was like, I'm going to block 5 here. I didn't want to go to a certain break point where the hammer was always a must block.
I think blocking 5 would have also put you at 1.
Yes.
So
That's
like
right.
It was
That's right.
perfect.
After the pummel.
Not
Yeah.
die.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I thought you were doing.
That is what I was doing for sure. Was
Yeah.
like, this is a way that I can not die and still play the game back. But then I did draw the Soul Shield, and so I ended up blocking an 11 dominate attack.
Which is just too much.
And
man.
it was too much.
Yeah,
and
it's just too
then,
much.
sure enough, I forgot a Tunic trigger at the very end, which would have won me the game because I played my first V of the Vanguard, and my Tunic was on 2. It should have been on 3. And I pitched for it and played it, but that got all cards out of hand because of life totals. And then I drew up. I had the second V in that hand, and then I was able to Tunic V. That was the one that I'd pitched down. And then, it was just like, do 4, he's got to block with 2 cards or 1 card. Do 4, he's got to block with 2 cards, and then CNC for 7, and that was it.
Yeah.
So top 8 game went great. I was happy with Bravo.
Cruising into the top 4.
Final game, top 4. Tim, Icelander.
Yeah. Rematch.
Yeah.
Time for revenge.
Yeah. I played that game really well.
You did.
But you just don't know. Like I remember we talked afterwards, there was a moment where I Enlightened Strike for 5 with a draw instead of 7. And at the time, I didn't know it, but he was holding 2 blocks. And if I had gone in for 7, he would have ripped his hand. And then I think that would have given me the advantage I needed. Yeah. I had the beacon play set up. There was 2 times in that game where if I have beacon, I win. It would be my 3rd beacon, so it was unlikely. But I had soul enough to basically, he blocked 3, and it's like, if you have beacon here,
Crazy.
It's over. But I don't.
That. Yeah, he was like, well, you got it.
Instead, he goes down to 1 as usual, and then we play the little game back and forth for a while, and then he blows me out with Insidious Chill and Aether Ice Vein.
Then he Icelands you.
Yeah. And so my losses were 2 to Icelander, Tim, on the day.
Yeah.
So only matchup I really didn't want to see.
Which he ended up playing Eric in the finals, and Eric's not planning on going to the Pro Tour, so didn't scooped basically. It's weird to have the rules on it. Whatever.
He didn't say it out loud.
Scooped, but then it was like for honor.
Sign
played a game after, and Eric ended up getting it. But Tim wins the event. So your 2 losses were to Tim.
Tim on Icelander,
who won the event and on Icelander.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I feel great.
Yeah, I mean, I top 4 with Bolton and a ProQuest after. This is your first constructed in a long time.
When's the last time I played
Vegas?
constructed? I played the Blitz for the team event
in July
of last year. Yeah,
and then you kind of checked out of constructed.
Let me tell you my process for getting up to speed on constructed. I played, I think, 250 games on Talisharn.
That's a lot.
In about 2.5 weeks.
I think that was my. So I'd been taking the break and I didn't start until 2 weeks ago Monday. But one of my big goals for the year is to get 2 worlds and not be burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm testing in the past 2 weeks, testing actually way less than I used to test.
Yeah.
Because I'm attempting to take a longer view on the year. This time last year, this has been going on. It would have been like exhausted,
yeah,
exhausted testing.
Let's talk about our approaches to these tournaments.
Okay.
And the philosophy therein, which is something we really want to get into. So you going into ProQuest season like this, what is your goal? what are you playing for?
Fun?
Yeah.
One goal is to not burn out.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's fascinating too, right? That's not a normal goal that you hear somebody have about tournament play, but you're getting older now.
I am getting older. I also think like not only am I getting older, but last year it's the recognition that the seasons don't stop. And so you can always be going 120% but if you always go 120%, even if it's what your full-time job is maybe, but like if
Michael.
Yeah, if you're living life and you have work and you have other obligations, like it just is very easy to get to there was a point, the point where it really hit. I was feeling tired by Pro Tour 1 last year. I was planning on taking off, but then they were like, oh, it's ProQuest season. Like very late they announced it was right after Pro Tour.
Yeah.
So I'll play that, and then they announced the team calling. And I was like, well, I can't not go to team calling, so I'll go to that. Then we got COVID, and then they were like, Road to Nationals and it was like, didn't stop. So by the time Road to Nationals was over last year, heading into Pro Tour 2.
That was in France, yeah?
Yeah, in August, I was like, okay, I need a break. And that's about when they announced that there was going to be a national championship in October. It's like, this train is not stopping. Like this is a nonstop train. So ultimately for me,
you will be playing all of the time.
Yeah. ProQuest are very difficult to win because only the winner qualifies. Like Road to Nats top 4.
Yeah.
That's a lot more. Like if you go to 3 or 4 of those and you're pretty good, like you should be able to get into a top 4 and qualify for that sort of thing. But ProQuest are hard. Like it's
yeah, it's like winner takes all basically.
Yeah, and it's regional metas, so like things can be skewed weird, and maybe your bad matchup is just like I saw Lexi both days. My odds of winning that game are low with both versions of my deck. So my goal in a ProQuest season was to just kind of get back into the swing of things. Of course, I'd like to win a ProQuest, but I honestly wasn't even expecting. I'm not expecting it.
You feel like you were not in shape, competitive shape?
Definitely. I definitely feel like even I could tell because Saturday night, switching to B3 Briar for Sunday, I was making decisions about my deck and my sideboard to reduce the number of cards I have to pull out of my deck every round. It's like, well, you know what? I don't want this in every match, but the odds of me like seeing these two decks, it's like I'm taking it out every round because I would actually leave it out against, let's say Rhinar and Dory, right? And it's like, well, I'm just gonna leave it in, and deal with it.
Yeah. You've truly crossed the Rubicon now. Yeah. I was looking to increase the ease of my sideboard.
Yeah, really. Seriously though, and it can get. It can get very, for Worlds, it was very complex.
Yeah.
It's very nuanced, the sideboard. And I'm not taking it that level. And I don't know, if I don't win a Pro Quest, I'm still planning to go to the Pro Tour in that event, at worst to play in the Calling. But after seeing last year, like, the amount of effort I was putting in to get ready for Pro Quest, and winning, I won 2 Pro Quests last year, 1 from each season, and it was great. I did enjoy winning. I do like cold golds. I got the cold gold in Othos. That was awesome. But the effort to return / the number of times I can like put on the gas a year, I'm just kind of lowering it down for Pro Quest season for me.
Right on.
If I'm going to spend the gas, it's like I would rather do it for a Calling or the Pro Tour itself. And so kind of the max goal for me is have fun, give myself a shot to win, and then see what happens.
You also kind of thought this might be one of the last Briar moments, right?
Yeah.
Like, she's close to living legend at this point.
Originally going into the season, I thought she would definitely living legend out. She is winning some amount of Pro Quest, but this meta is tough for her. So I actually don't know that she'll get there before Pro Tour 3.
And you'll have the fateful decision of not a decision on playing Briar.
So I decided on Sunday after 5 rounds into like just very taxing decks. In that moment, at least, I was like, I'm done with Briar. Like I need to move on.
A clean slate.
Yeah, I still love Briar, but and it's the deck I'm most prepared with, generally speaking. But I think one of my new goals after Pro Quest season, before Pro Tour 1, is to start playing 3 or 4 different decks. I think one of my weak spots as a competitive player has been, it's a strength and a weakness of focusing too much on single heroes.
Yeah.
So if a meta, like even at Worlds, Briar was the wrong choice. Like Pro Tour 1, I think there's a case to be made there. Pro Tour 2, definitely. By Worlds, wrong.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have the bandwidth to pivot to an entirely new hero and also do the draft. Get to the draft level I needed to get to.
I will say that, man, I think that is one of the fun and one of the strengths of Flesh and Blood as a whole, is that even if it is the wrong choice, like the experience you have on a hero, it won't get you to Michael Hamilton winning Worlds levels, but you don't necessarily have to move to the strongest hero if you have so much experience built into something you played previously.
Sure.
And that there is a reward mechanism for sticking with something that you know over going with something that the fundamentals might get you 5 or 10% higher odds.
And I think the risk of that strategy, though, is there are going to be metas where the heroes you're focused on aren't the best choice. So a good example of this, a player that is known for this, is Josh Lau, warrior player.
He's a Bolton guy.
Bolton and Dory.
Yeah.
And there was a long time where those aren't the decks. And so, like, he would do well at Callings. And, like, I played him at the Calling at Nationals. But he would oftentimes be, like, 1 or 2 games out. And I think a lot of that just has to do with there are some really tough matches in the meta for him. So, like, the odds of doing that 14 rounds in a row are hard. But now that Dory and Warrior seems to be in a much better spot, he's in a position to take advantage of that.
Right.
All that experience and all that knowledge he has. Even if he wasn't playing the deck, he would have so much knowledge against that deck. But at the same time, that's where I'm feeling with Briar right now. Is I think you can win Pro Quest with Briar at the moment. So I have a tough decision ahead of me. My next Pro Quest is a week from Saturday. But at the same time, I think mathematically it's not the deck you would pick to have the best shot. And that's where, for me, it's not even, let me pivot to the best deck immediately, as much as it's, I think I can be more well-rounded by having other classes that I'm experiencing.
It's such a breath of fresh air sometimes.
Yeah.
When you just pick up a totally different thing. I remember going from, 7 years on Azalea into, I think it was even Levia, which is funny. into Bolton. And just like every time you pick up the new, and it's so exciting because you get to relearn how they're doing the game.
Yeah.
And you have ideas about how to do it a little bit differently.
I think it even makes you better at the original hero.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where, for me, it's less about pivot to something really strong and more, there are elements of the game that I've only ever played against, really. Like, I avoided Prism like the plague.
Yeah.
So, like, Illusionist and Dromai is an interest of mine, but I haven't really gone there.
I look forward to you trying Dromai.
Even Bravo being kind of back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I would actually enjoy, he's one of my longtime favorites. But if you can find 2 or 3 heroes that you enjoy, and you can pick the one that you would enjoy and that would do well in a certain meta, I think that's a really strong position to be in, especially for ProQuest level stuff. Like,
yeah, for sure.
What about you?
Yeah, man. So I told you I had not experienced what Talisharn was or anything about it. And then I got on there a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I want to not embarrass myself at a ProQuest. I want to be reasonable, and I want to take Bolton. Like I knew that going in. I thought Bolton would be absolute garbage in this metagame.
Yeah,
it's like all this ice and disruption. It's like it's unusable. So I just put that theory to the test. So I put it together. I looked at a couple of lists. I looked at Josh Lau's list, the Rabers or whatever. I looked at Jimmy's list, Jimmy Lee, I can't remember. I looked at Will, Cardboard Cast, Will's list, and just started kind of like piecing some things together and then cut some stuff that I didn't like. Like I started with, really the process was, I started with what are Bolton's strongest possible moments? Via the Vanguard double bolting blade or single bolting blade are huge. That's the most damage you can churn out. It's 28 damage. Easy. 5 cards, 28 damage. Great. Love it. So I put 3 bolting blades in. I put 3 Via the Vanguards in. And I've already achieved one of the strongest lines of the deck. What's this? Some of this, like the second strongest thing Bolton does, I think, is Bolt of Courage, charge into Steel Hand, draw. That's on its face. That's 2 cards for the charge, 1 card for the Steel Hand. So there's 3 cards in. You're doing 6 damage and drawing a card back.
3 card 9, baby.
You're also immediately can cast that soul in for Raiden. Mm-hmm. So you can get that turn up.
3 card 12.
And then 12, and then depending on what you draw, you can finish like a snatch or something at the end. So I was like, I want to do 3 Bolt of Courage, 3 Steel Hand, red. So we've got that play now. And then it was CNC. I mean, you've got a hero that can make CNC very difficult to block, that can buff CNC to 7 on a Via the Vanguard turn.
Or just after you charge, right?
Yeah, after you charge, it's a 6, very difficult to block. After V, it's a 7, very difficult to block. And then you have Steel Hand that can pump it, or Beacon that can pump it.
Yeah.
So that was the only disruption available to Bolton at all. So it was like, aside from like Erase Face or whatever. And so I was like, well, I should find a way to do that, because Take Flight, Raiden, Command and Conquer is a fantastic disruptive turn if you can find an opening for it. So I put 3 CNC in, I put 3 Take Flight in, and I put 9 blues in. And I went with the charge blues because at the very least you can do something with those cards and block 3. And after that it was like Valiant Thrust. I talked to Evan about this later. I was like, this card isn't garbage. It's absolutely bad. I ended up on 1 red in my deck and 2 blues. But it's a 1 for 7 straight damage. That's a conditional.
The blue is nice. A blue black 3 that can be a 5 damage attack.
Yeah, the blue is really nice. But like the floor of this card is a 1 for 4 without go again, which is guttural. Mm-hmm. And then the upside of this card is I'm 3 cards into something before this even can get played, and I have to have pitched.
Yeah.
Or there is the moment where like you like Bolt, charge, Beacon, go again, Raiden, go again, Tunic, Valiant Thrust. Great. Like that is a good turn. But oftentimes you want that Tunic counter for your free Take Flights or for your free Via the Vanguard.
Like spending the Tunic, even though it's efficient on that turn for that play, is not exactly what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
Like if the next hand you drop and you draw Via the Vanguard and the Tunic, it's like, what did I just do?
It's really tough.
Yeah, when that could have been a 0 for 4.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what we do is, so then I put the deck together with those concepts in mind, and then I played a bunch on Talisharn, and I had 3 red Valiant Thrust in at the time because I was like, I don't think this card is any good, but I'm not willing to just cut it. There wasn't a lot of like awesome replacements. I even looked at Life for Life at that time. And then the final piece of the deck was, I love the decent standalone cards, Illuminate, Rising Solar Tide. I think Rising Solar Tide is a better version of Battlefield Blitz. We had talked about this before. Remember that old Bolton deck I had? The idea was 5-card hands that are soul positive. So it's like Take Flight, Battlefield Blitz, in with Rising Solar Tide, Raiden in between. That's actually decent numbers, and you get a soul at the end of it. But Battlefield Blitz basically means I don't need a soul at the beginning of this, and Rising Solar Tide means I get a soul back at the end of this. Yeah. Because it always hits. So it's just
nobody want to block that.
It's just the same thing, except I can play a Solar Tide when I don't have any charge cards. Yeah. Whereas I can't play a Battlefield Blitz except for a 1-for-5. So I take a 1-for-5 hit effect by itself over a 1-for-5 basic. So then 3 Illuminates, 3 Solar Tides, and then some Thrusts, Bolting Blades, etc. Ran it. And I played 100 games on that bad boy, and probably because I was sick that week. Yeah. And so like
stuck at home clicking the mouse.
I just didn't have a lot of time, or I didn't have to spend time doing much else, and so I was just sitting there and looked at it. Valiant Thrust got played 9% of my times that it was seen, and mostly it blocked or was charged.
Data.
Horrible. So that immediately kind of validated those cuts. Snatch was worked in there because it's really good off of V, chaining draws with bolts and snatches. That was a thing we did back with the when that one card was not banned.
Blunderrun?
The armbands that gave everything goofy +1.
Yeah.
Stubbies.
Yeah, stubby hammers.
Yeah, stubbies. So we had that Bolton stubby deck, remember we played on the stream, and it was the whole idea was string out 6, 7, 8 cards. Yeah. So you take Snatch from that lesson, and then it's like, that's still a good standalone turn.
That's a good finisher.
And so then I'm like, yeah, I just want to get practice and get something worked up. I've ended up on the shunts eventually because I was running into a lot of Bravos on Talisharn, and if you're just getting pummeled by their hit effects, Bolton can do nothing. Yeah, so I added those. There were some weird Ultim decks with Frostfang pummels and stuff that were just awful to play against. So the shunts were helping me cover up post-pummel situations as well. Also can help you shunt a Frosty Hammer. Tunic shunt on the hammer is 5 value, prevents the
Sometimes you win the game off that.
You can. Yeah, it's really good. And then I just decided to ask. I was playing all Raiden, and then I said, are there 4 cards I can cut to bring the combo in to give me better matchups?
And the combo is basically the 2 sabers, Centaur sabers, Courage of Bladehold.
Courage of Bladehold and Gallantry Gold.
Gallantry Gold.
That's it. Yeah, once you have that, you're done. So put the combo in, started winning some matches that I was losing. Like I was being outraced by Dash, I was being outraced by Fi, and it was giving me a chance to win those games. So those win percentages went up. I didn't feel like there were 4 more impactful cards I could make to the Raiden situation to make those matches better than the combo did. So that's where I ended up on combo. And then basically for the next week and a half,
just jammed
on Tally, just absolutely jammed. And you just start getting so much better. It's crazy.
Weird.
I mean, and it's so nice because you see every conceivable matchup. Yeah. Like it's not just...
At varying skill levels.
At varying skill levels, at varying weird stuff that people are trying, varying equipment loadouts. You kind of see what everybody's trying to do and these ideas that are happening. And you just start learning your cards better. You start learning to be patient. That is the number 1 rule of Flesh and Blood. Stop rushing. Yeah. That's it.
There were metas before where that wasn't possible.
Yeah.
And we were definitely in a patient meta. I'll say that much.
Yeah. I see asking why do I run Soul Food? No, I think Soul Food is gutturally bad as a card. But I'm glad Evan likes it.
Yeah. Turn 0,
that's the beautiful thing about it. I mean, you can make a case for Turn 0, obviously, it's great. But Soul is so overvalued in general. 4 Soul, I was even telling Evan, I think on Turn 0, I'd rather have 1 Soul in an Arsenal card over 4 Soul.
Oh, if you're the one going, it's an action. I thought it was an instant.
No, it's an action. If I have the opportunity to play this, I think I would still rather have an Arsenal and 1 Soul over 4 Soul and no Arsenal. Yeah. Which is crazy. But if you're running Soul Food, you probably should run Celestial Cataclysm, and you probably should rely on these higher payoff Soul cards.
Yeah, I would imagine it's also potentially better if you're concerned with having Soul very quickly for some reason.
Yeah, like combo. Yeah. But here's the thing about combo. You don't need that much Soul.
As long as you have Prayer, but Prayer takes time.
Yeah, the Spirit takes time, but also you will get there. So in a perfect world, right? First turn, you charge a card, that's 1 Soul. Second turn... you block, and then you charge a card, that's 2 Soul. Third turn, if you charge a card, you're ready to go. Like against most decks, you're ready to combo at that moment. So these kinds of like turbo, I'm going to play Halo and I'm going to charge at the very beginning of the game and get 1 extra soul. It's like, yeah, you did that. And what if you don't see the combo for 5 turns and you now can't block 3 with that skull cap that you could have had? Yeah. So I don't know. I think getting soul quickly is not at all even a priority, even in combo. I think you've got some time. That's the way I play it, at least. So yeah, so I played a bunch of those matches on Talisharn. I made some last minute cuts, had some last minute conversations with Will, Evan. Snatches stayed in, Shunt stayed in, Sink Below stayed in, and
gave yourself a shot.
That was it. Yeah,
top 4.
I got blown up once by Dash, and then I was like, I can't let that happen again. So I added the skull cap.
never again.
Yeah, you just learned those lessons. On there rather than at your top 8 match. Yeah, right. And that's it.
Nice. Well, congratulations. That was a good run. It was fun to watch.
I didn't expect to do well at all, so it was quite a joy.
Yeah. After Evan won with Bolton the day before, I was like, maybe they're onto something.
Yeah.
There's something here. The game has changed. The game has changed.
It continues to be better than... Every time I win with Bolton, I honestly don't know how it happened. Yeah. Because I run the numbers in my head and I'm like, this is fundamentally worse than most heroes. But it happens. Mm-hmm. And then you're happy. And it's so fun. Bolton is like so fun, man.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
He's the most fun hero.
I quite like Bolton, especially with Raiden. That's the
it's the best.
The dream right there.
You wish you could run it the whole time, and we'll get to that world, I think, here pretty quick. Yeah. You want to do a little short?
Yes.
We're gonna continue Zach's series of explaining games
I didn't know it was me
10
every time.
seconds or less.
Hold on. I need just a second to collect my body and stuff.
And again, this is so I hope you guys love this. This is our social strategy in which we joke about our social strategy and then we post that as our actual social strategy.
It's very meta.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it. All right, Fab, what's the prompt here?
So this is the joke that we started with was these how to play videos are just going to keep getting shorter and shorter because algorithms and human attention spans. So we go from a 2-hour Team Covenant learning Netrunner to a 1-hour Rodney Watch It Played to a 30-minute, I don't even know who would do the 30-minute, to a 10-minute Professor learn the game in 10 minutes to now a Zach Bunn learn the game in 10 seconds.
That's right. That's our signature.
You have
Who would have thought? The 10-second tutorial.
You have 10-second tutorials. It's right there. I mean, brand it. Put it on this shirt.
I hear the...
It's out the door. 10-second toot. 10 seconds for Flesh and Blood. Are you ready? All right, I'll give you the prompt.
All right.
Okay, 10 seconds. How to play Flesh and Blood. Go.
Choose a hero. Choose a weapon. Grab your equipment. Go back and forth with your opponent. Attacking and defending more efficiently. And deciding when to bet.
Oh, that's pretty good. That was great. Go back and forth with your opponent. I don't know. Is that compelling enough?
I don't know. That's the best I got.
I'm going to give you another one.
All right, 10 seconds.
10 seconds. I was just going to say, Room Blade.
All right, here we go. Think for a second. Collect. 3, 2, 1.
Choose your favorite hero, weapon, and equipment. Go back and forth with your opponent, deciding when to block and attack. And do that more efficiently. You got to decide when to bet.
Boom. That's 8 seconds.
That's good. We can print that one.
Do it more efficiently and decide when to bet.
Yeah. I think that's Fab in a nutshell, right?
That's very compelling, yes.
And it's cool. You get to choose a hero.
Yes.
And a class and like all the equipment, weapons, and build them out kind of like an RPG character. Like if this is the 45-second version. Mm-hmm. And then it's all about that. I mean, the biggest realization you always have in Fab is the more you block, the less you attack.
Yeah. It's a beautiful tempo trade-off. You've got to make these decisions.
The back and forth. And that's how Bolton does it, right?
That's right.
It's like just the back and forth. And all of a sudden you do that a little bit more efficiently. And then boom, you win.
And if you would like to learn how to play Fab in 104 hours or 600 hours of content,
so much Fab content.
We have 104 videos of Flesh and Blood on our channel that you can go check out. We'll see you there. That's right. 104. I think it was 104. 104, 140.
That's crazy.
104.
104.
That's so many.
That's a lot.
We didn't even celebrate our 100th.
No, we didn't.
We missed it.
No, we didn't. We need to do another like evergreen Fab learning video because that introducing Flesh and Blood is 2 people slapping each other with a game system they have no idea about.
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like our most popular Fab video, and it's like...
Not it.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's not only, swinging weapons. I mean,
it's probably only notable because there's like boxes of alpha in the background.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, good job, Zach. You did it. You're a social dream.
It's the best I could do.
All right, you want to play one?
Yes. Let me just check our. Yeah. What do you want to play into? Here's what I got for you. I'll give you dealer's choice because you're the Bolton.
Do you want to just do our two decks playing into each other? People have seen that quite a bit, but
they haven't seen it in an edited video.
You know what I'll do? I'll play Raiden. So here's what I'll do. I'll even set it up. Let me zoom out here. Here's what's going to happen. I'll play Raiden, the Raiden version of my deck, my top 4 PQ Bolton deck. I'll play the Raiden version into your Briar and demonstrate what I think are the problems with the matchup.
Okay.
So that you can see why I chose to go combo into that. And then maybe I'll play combo into it and we'll see how that changes the paradigm. Let's do that.
I'm into it.
And then maybe we'll play one into aggro or something like that. We'll see where we get. Okay. Where are we? So let's talk sideboards a little bit. If I'm playing, my sideboard strategy throughout the day was organic, some would say.
You were just figuring it out as you went.
As I went, yes, I was. Raiden, I always want Spirit. I love Spirit. And Light and Strike, this card is so good. I fought it for so long because I don't like the fact that you're running generics at all. But this card is so incredibly good in this deck.
You did fight it. I remember when I picked up the Bolton Mantle for a minute. And I was like, dude, E-Strike's so good.
It is.
You didn't like it.
You were right. I'm a purist.
That was back before Plunder Run got banned.
Yeah.
Plunder Run got banned, and I promptly left Bolton behind.
Man, Plunder Run getting banned. Command and Conquer against Briar is necessary. Plunder Run getting banned was a huge blow for Bolton. That was really his card. All the Bolton players secretly hope that there's a light version of Plunder Run coming.
I think that would be fair.
It wouldn't be called Plunder Run, of course. It would be called like Angel Wings or something. I run 1 Red Valiant at this point because there is the weird time you need to go get it with Beacon to win the game. So I'll play it. I got 1 of them, and it did win me a game once.
What card won you the game? Asking for a friend?
Valiant Thrust. Beacon, Valiant Thrust, Tunic, Valiant Thrust.
Won you a game?
Yep, it did.
This weekend?
Mm-hmm.
The one of?
The one of, yep.
Miracles do happen.
Well, you got Beacon, so like it's kind of more on point. Okay, what do we want against Briar? Here's kind of how I do this, at least. These Cataclysms, this is for when the game's going to go long or I'm going to be able to build a lot of soul over time or to drill my poppers. This game is not going to go long, and I feel like it's going to be Mount Heroic versus Via the Vanguard. Snatch is potentially in. We're going to find out. Briar's got such good blocks on 4s. I've got a 2-block now in my deck against Mount Heroic. Briar also has a lot of good break points on Force of Nature turns, so I would lean towards not including this. Here's 3 blues I bring in for Icelander purposes, or like in this matchup, I need to be able to do Take Flight into CNC, so I might be bringing them in. I don't need Shunts here. There's no big dominate attacks. I do want the Sinks here because she's got a lot of good 4s. I do want the Soul Shields, so let's see where that leaves us. I honestly don't know how many cards that becomes. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Sam Kernow saying Plunder Sun.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, 17, 18, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30.
Cardboard Cast saying single worst thing that happened to Bolton was a Plunder Run ban. Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
6, 7, 58. So I have 2 slots. I'm going to bring in 2 thrusts. I bring in the Blue Engulfing if I was combo here because it's that. But this card, it's hard to imagine a card worse than this. When played, a card worse than this.
Blocks 3 blue. It is not the worst card in the game.
It's not wrong. Not wrong at all. Okay, and then I actually ran out of sleeves.
Have you seen Snag?
Yeah. So I've got to switch some sleeves out.
As with, big congrats to Steven this weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks so much.
You got to celebrate the wins.
Celebrate the wins, because they're not common.
Not a constant. For most people.
No, I don't. It's not the kind of thing I think I will do well in consistently. So you got to surprise people every now and again and then go back into hiding. You don't talk about anything else.
Yeah, it's like, I did.
Remember that one time? I won all those Netrunner regionals.
That's right.
And I never really played again.
Easy. Josh was What are you saying?
Briar, I'm actually gonna bring in the cap.
Makes sense. The armor plus the AB actually can be game saving.
It's just one more instance of that one breakpoint as well.
Yeah.
And like your 4s are so annoying. You do those dumb.
The good cards.
Yeah.
Yes. yes.
Dominion is good. I'm ultimately is it Dominion Providence? I'm only on Providence right now against those freaking CNC pummelers.
Yeah. I mean, CNC pummel is brutal.
You just can't have it. So they launched the CNC. If they have pummel resources, just put the hat in.
Yeah.
There's no.
Honestly, even if not, if they just CNC you, the efficiency gain on block 2, get the card in hand. If you need a 5-card hand.
Yeah.
Very good.
That's good.
Like
I usually just save it because like if you get CNC pummeled,
game over.
you lose.
Don't know if that's exactly true, but it's close.
You just lose. Like you just lost too much value. It's impossible.
Shoshi says, is the current meta an indication of success of the Living Legend format in your opinion?
Yes.
So, yes. There's some take this for what it is.
Oh, here we could use these sleeves too, yeah.
There's some discussion. You don't want to re-sleeve everything all of a sudden. There's some discussion
I don't like these as
about the current meta, and like it is open. Like the number of heroes you're seeing in the top of these events is really awesome, but the current meta in terms of effectively, it can be a very painful. Like it's
a little negative play.
It's just like
a lot of disruption.
Can't do it. A lot of disruption. A lot of attacks, which usually at like a high level. Players don't mind it as much, but like, you know, anyone that is less experienced in it, it can just get really frustrating very quickly.
It is frustrating. It requires you to have patience. Really, you just wait. You just keep waiting. That kind of thing.
Roger, I would 100% Sabers into Bro.
Roger must have missed the intro of this video.
Maybe he did. I don't know if it's Roger or
where
Roger.
I am saying I want to show you the Raiden matchup that I saw into aggro that made me run combo into all of these Briar, Vis, Phi, and the other ones.
So this is you're showing why you wouldn't do this.
Yeah. Now you can win this. I mean, there's maybe a 10% here. Maybe.
You remember when I played Tunic with Viscerai early?
Yeah, and everybody lost their mind.
Got roasted. As I was saying, I saw some people saying the current meta is difficult for new players because the variance is so low since Starvo and Chain went away.
You think so? Man, I feel like Starvo and Chain were very low variance heroes.
Well, I think the reason that the difference is if you're a new player that started a month ago, you could pick up Chain or Starvo and do decent at a tournament because they were so just like unbelievable.
That's not awesome either, though, is it?
I didn't like. I mean, if you you have to decide. It's like even the Magic, Richard Garfield, how much luck matters because like the odds if a new player can sometimes beat the best player, then it doesn't have to be often, but like 1 in 20 even is like enough to keep them in. So if you show up now and you're new, it could be really challenging. It would be very challenging for you to ever win. Not necessarily a tournament, but like sometimes it's even just challenging to win a game.
Yeah.
Like I can hardly win a game as Briar playing for a year plus into Icelander.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, welcome to heavy control heroes. That's why I've never liked them.
Used to like if Icelander's the best now, you can't just pick Icelander up and win.
True. Yeah.
If Chain was the best, you can pick up Chain and go like 3 and 3 at a local army or something, or a PQ.
I'm kind of in the posture now though. Like it's kind of the point of Flesh and Blood. Also, it's like designed to be very skill selective and tight gameplay. Like it's not designed to be super random. So it's kind of maybe it's just one of those things. If you don't like that, I mean, we played Yu-Gi-Oh, and if you're going from Yu-Gi-Oh to this, you may as well be in a different universe. It's not even a game. Like
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I mean, comparatively, these are so different, even though they look so much the same. It's insane.
Joshua, I love seeing this. FAB is really hard. Roger was saying that earlier too. Battle's really hard, which makes y'all's openness to play and test things for the sake of experimentation so impressive. And your willingness and positivity is such a great mindset.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Love hearing that.
Well, thank you. Everything's more important than winning these kinds of things.
It's pretty low on the list.
But it's so fun to get better at something that has seemingly an infinite ceiling.
Yeah. Like even just you grinding games for 2 weeks.
Dude, it was so
very
satisfying. And you make small tweaks, but it takes time, and it's not easy.
Yeah. I'll let you choose first or second because you are choosing your difficult option.
Common thinking is first.
So this is Beefy Briar versus Raiden Bolton. And you're saying that this should be very unfavored for you.
I think you should win by a mile.
You like doing that, right? It's like, well, if you win, it looks real good. But if you lose, it's like, oh, yeah, of course I lost.
Yeah, that's a strategy.
Hypothetically.
That's a strategy.
Going down, Willie.
Yes, that's correct. Now,
Alan says, I do love tuning into Flesh and Blood that has 0 ice cards on the table.
And I don't want to get caught here either. Because the other thing is, right now, your hand can be 4 2-block attacks. In a world where that's true, if I go take flight Raiden, your whole hand is gone or you're taking damage. I get a soul, etc. But if you just look at my hand, really, I'll show you the options here.
Throw your hands up.
Just back up a little bit. So there's a part of you that says, in 2 turns, this is going to be really good out of the arsenal. It could be the pivot that I need. So I can tuck this, which gives me bolt, charge, hold on to an E-strike in hand. That's fine. Other options here are launch the take flight 3, pitch the V, charge the bolt. That gives you a V in the late game if Lord knows that this one's going there. This is probably gone forever. And then you arsenal the enlightened strike and you filter.
If you ever play your reaction, you'll shuffle your deck, right?
Yeah. So Beacon does change the math on that for sure. You could also do nothing, just arsenal the V and go in with no soul and not give you a mulligan.
I mean, the take flight, charge, potentially Raiden, and have V in the arsenal is pretty sweet, right?
Yes, that is cool. You can do pitch here, take flight, charge the bolt, keep the V in the arsenal. Or you could say, why am I giving Briar 4 chances to get him out heroic? And you could just
my man. It's actually even more than that.
Yeah, it's bad. So I probably will do that.
Man, I don't remember which game it happened in, but you started taking your first turn, and you passed back to your opponent, and you looked over.
It was Tim.
And you're like, that tunic is bone dry.
I wonder if that would have changed the math too.
I don't know.
Because it was such a tight game, and it was like if I had that tunic earlier.
Devastating. It's like that's a game you need everything to go right. You just can't forget a tunic.
Yeah. So for you as a Briar player, would you be more pleased with me having a soul or you getting mulligan?
So, not talking about soul, just generally against Briar, in my opinion. Almost always, my opponent attacking an enemy on the first turn is helpful for me.
Yeah.
Like, almost, we can just look at it, right? So here's what you're dealing with. I thought when you said take flight at first, it was red. So I go to sink below. So this round's on me.
Ugh.
Tome of Harvest, an E-strike. So right now, with this hand, the only way I can swing sword on my turn is if I play this round's on me, which I don't really want to do. Like that's not the dream. But there is a world where I play this, and then I sink a card here, and I put this in arsenal if you do nothing.
Yeah.
But really, probably what I do, because I know you like to block with 2 cards, is if you don't do anything, I'm going to end up E-striking. I'm going to put this in arsenal and have this in hand. And if you don't threaten that much, I'll have Tome of Harvest to draw and have a really aggressive hand. Now, if you start attacking, my natural default, like if you attack for 3, is going to be block here. Then the second thing I'm going to do is block here. And then what you're doing now is I have an Earth card and a 0-cost attack. So if either of the top 2 cards is Channel Mount Heroic, your life just got way worse for no real gain. Now, for a gain is your soul. Now, this could also be, I could draw nothing good, but other things I can draw here are like, if I draw a Bramble Spark, it's like, that's so much more value for me, because it's going to be, anyways.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have a perfect hand, but that's rare.
Yeah. So I think probably general thinking is just don't swing.
Yeah.
Easy. And I get to keep a yellow take flight in hand, and that's reasonable. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to arsenal the V, and then we'll get into it.
All right, tuning. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. We're going to play E-Strike. I'm going to put a card under, and I'm going to choose +2. Just coming in for 7.
E-Strike for 7. And now I've got my arsenal locked down. So I'm going to be looking at what are my best plays here, and do I want to keep? Do I want to basically try to keep health and push you off until I have the turn? And that's probably what I'll end up with. This is kind of the issue with take flight, right? So this is a 3-card hand to charge and do 6 damage. So this is a 6 damage 3 cards. So if I block here and do this, I've successfully done 9 value out of this hand, which is horrible.
9 card 4 or 4 card 9.
Yeah, I'm gonna take 11 instead. And then the question is, what do you want at the bottom of the stack? And I want that E-Strike at the bottom of the stack in case it goes there. So I'm gonna block 6.
Okay, take 1.
Yeah.
Which will activate
Sweet
my trap
embodiment.
card. Yeah. Then I'll arsenal. Pass to you. Throw back up.
All right, Tunic. And then I'll do a Solar Tide for 5. This is why this card is good, even though it's not good. It's why it's here.
Okay.
Rising Solar Tide.
Rising Solar.
Yeah. Jameson actually missed a second tune-up from the last turn of the game as well, apparently. Was that against Tim? I definitely remember missing against Guardian. We went into that knowing that that would be how I was going to lose. Talisharn does it for me automatically.
Well, this is interesting.
Come on, 4 block and just give me that tunic.
Let's go. This is a really bad hand.
No, let's call that a blocking hand.
Yeah. Well, we can do more than that, though. You know. We can take a shot at it.
And now you're getting into Ruin Blade territory.
Yeah. All right. Let's just go.
What do we say about patience?
Yeah. Don't do it. Block for 3. Go to reactions.
Pass.
I'm gonna sink.
All right, that's all right.
We'll sink.
Slap.
Okay, that works.
David blamed it.
I mean, you're gonna see what Beefy does. Beefy is as Beefy does. This goes away for Tunic first, technically.
Beefy is as Beefy does.
Yeah. Is that worth it? I don't think so.
Got that V turn coming up potentially.
Red Autumn stats for 7.
No funny business past that.
It's just the beef, man. Blocking and swinging 7. What is this?
I actually like that list a lot.
The beefy list? Yeah, it's really good.
Just the idea of it.
And in the 5 mat, I was really happy about it going into Worlds. Of course, didn't see any 5s, but that's neither here nor there.
Nobody's going to touch an Autumn's Touch for 7. It's the most boring attack on Earth.
Don't you love it? It's just beef, man. It's like, here's a roast beef sandwich. Eat it. Everyone eats it. Everyone just eats it. No one wants to block it. It's crazy.
It's blank, man.
Yeah, man. So good.
The card is blank.
So good.
Okay.
It actually has flavor text on it.
It does have flavor text. Yeah.
The Hands of Autumn sweeps the land, guiding life towards rebirth.
Okay. I have to assume one play pattern that you're going to be on, and I'm going to assume it. So I'll take 7. I'll pass all the stuff.
Bow, 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 bow. We've got the beef. Arsenal, over to you.
All right, Tunic, V. We're gonna double charge here. Coming at you for 5.
No hit effect, eh?
No hit effect, dude.
Oh, no block. Take 5.
Yeah, give it go again.
Oh, dang. I was trying to get... Man, don't forget that reaction. That is a bummer.
You gotta
if
watch
you
that
do.
one, don't you? Let's Yeah, I'm actually gonna play it this way. Bolt for 5, draw if it hits. Now you gotta think.
Block 5?
Yeah. I'll give her a go again. Raiden 5.
Yeah. Block 4.
You got it.
Take 1. We have the beef.
Some armor and some cards. Let's go.
Just waiting on the mountains to show up. Alright. Let's go Bramble Spark. Red? Nope, no fusion. No fusion. Nimblism.
You just play such dumpy cards and you get these like weird benefits.
Snatch for 1 arcane damage.
Oh, the +1. Don't forget the +1 on the bolt. You gotta give me something else on that.
What was
Because
the
of
bolt on?
the attack gives it the +1. Swarming Gloom Veil +1. You gotta watch that. Watch that stuff. Take that hand back. That's important enough.
It was at what? It was at what?
It's important enough.
Ignore this.
I'll even give you the pleasure. Coming at you for 5. If you hit with an attack, it'll pump it. Having too much fun to remember how to play. It's harder, right?
Yeah, we can't let that hit. So we'll just use this instead. Block 6.
6 there, yeah. And then Raiden's gonna get something good here. 5.
5?
Yeah, Raiden 5 with V. So you blocked it with 4 last time, and this time, if you block with an attack, it's at 6.
I will just not block.
Take 4 more.
So technically, is there something else somewhere?
No, so you took 1 last time from Raiden, and this time you'll take 4 more. You would take 5 total.
So I should take 10 damage?
5 from V, 5 from Raiden. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You got it. 4 damage on the board, look at that.
Let me see this here. Okay. Bramble Spark, Nimblism, Snatch. 1 arcane, 7 physical. If it hits a draw card.
Cool. 1 arcane's good.
Bottom of birth.
7 physical. You probably don't think I'm gonna let that hit, do you?
You might.
Yeah, right. All right, let's go. You might.
I'd let you.
Will not.
Nuh-uh.
Let's block 3. Go to reactions. You got any?
I'll pass.
All right, I'll sync it.
Okay. Then I will lightning press.
And then I'll sync this guy, I think. It's basically, what do you want in Arsenal? I'm going to sync this guy.
All right. Then I will Tunic Resource and Swing Sword. Also, we have tokens somewhere.
Tokens?
I know we do. We have a bag of them.
Oh,
somewhere.
man, I think I took him.
Oh, you know what?
Then I lost him.
I think I might have some.
I didn't know.
You lost them?
I think I did, yeah.
Like permanently?
No, I just didn't use them. And I don't know where they are. So the true sense of the word, lost them. Ugh, that was a horrible sync. Oh, no.
You think Home Depot will take it back?
I hate that. What is it, 2 and 2?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm taking the 2, clearly.
Yeah. Clearly. I'm not an idiot. Brent's saying Frosty tokens win. We just did Frosty tokens. Or did you order them and you're waiting on them? Soonish? Probably next few weeks, I think.
Okay. Well. This is weird, Zach. I'm going to take 2 and I'm going to see what happens. It's usually when it goes poorly.
Hey, that's how you learn. Arsenal price.
That's right. You got to see how to play around this weird spirit. Let's just send a raw CNC there. Hey, looky there. An arsenal here. And I'll even get this tunic while I'm there.
We did it. Tunic. Okay, you click that tunic at the end of the turn. Cash. Nimblism. Ravenous Rabble. Revealing that this round's on me, so it's coming in for 5 with Gogan.
That's a Zach classic right there.
Yeah, hits with the blue, baby.
No hit effects, yeah.
Besides the embodiment of Earth, no.
Ooh, weird.
Why? Arsenal triggers tunic. Yeah, Brent, they should be coming pretty soon.
Okay, I have a plan for this turn. You have how many cards in hand?
3.
See, you started with the garbage. Let's be honest here.
Who's to say?
Absolute garbage.
There's 0% chance that it's going to be a non-attack into a snatch into a sword. 0.
I'll block 3, take
It's
one.
actually maybe worse than that, but we'll see. Embodiment of Earth. Okay.
And we are
I'll just
all
play
of them.
CNC.
Okay. Do you have any buffies? Can you buff that? You got the lightning press on that? Are you gonna creeper something dumb?
I could creepers, yeah. Doesn't mean I mean, the weird thing about creepers is I pay 1 and play this, so I'd have to be able to get a card back to do anything else.
Yeah. This is just, you're ending it here. You're done, right? You're done. You're not gonna swing the sword, and you're just gonna arsenal a card. I'll block 6.
Okay. Arsenal.
Check out this tasty play, though. Let's go Spirit from Arsenal. Oh, yeah.
Well, boom.
Arsenal this card. Back to you.
All right, tunic, and then this clears.
You don't have the heroic, so everything's fine.
We're going to create a rune chant. Give me gloves. We're going to play Swarming Gloomveil. 1 arcane, 3 physical.
1 arcane. 3 physical. Such a dumb... No, there's no hit on that, right? If it hits, something happens.
Just embodiment of Earth.
The classic Briar hit effect. Got it. Yeah, I'll take 3.
All right. Then I'll play Force of Nature. Swarming Gloomveil for 4 with Go again.
So I need to block that one.
Yeah, it hits. I draw a card. What could go wrong? People saying the audio is choppy?
I don't know what to do. It's the internet. I've been doing this for 2 years the same way. I don't know.
Yeah, try refreshing and see if it keeps going.
Okay. For 4. It's an annoying number.
You got armor.
Yeah. It's about that time, isn't it?
Mine's saying the refresh fixed it.
Okay, good.
DOI saying it's out of fine on my end.
Good. I'll block here.
Okay.
Have anything to say about that?
No, you're good. No, I'll swing sword for 2 and 2.
Take 2.
Where's your soul?
Don't need it. I'm telling you, you really don't need it that much. I'll take 2 more.
Well, boom.
Well, boom indeed. Gonna go. Well.
Well.
You've had enough time to put it together.
Put what together?
The moment. Yeah. All right, let's do red take flight. I'm gonna pitch here, float 1.
All right.
And charge and express. Match for 4, go again, no hit effects.
I will not block.
Pass.
The reaction. Single.
Okay. Congratulations. Sunk. Raiden for 3.
No block.
React with Lumina.
Sure would be nice if I had D-React here, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that sync below would be sweet right there.
Yeah, you got it.
Gives me an action point.
Take 4.
Take 4. Draw a card. Oh, E-Strike. 93% chance of hitting those Luminas. Brave Forge Bracers. Lumina for 5.
No block.
Okay, all good. Hiya. Gain 1 life. And pass.
Probably could have done that better. It's all right.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's just see what happens.
Let's just see what happens, you know? Let's go Blue Earth or Surge. Get my Tunic resource. CNC for 9. Soul Shield doesn't look so good anymore, innit?
You know what I mean? Maybe I just lose it though, right?
If it's just a Soul Shield, then yes. Block 3 or 6 and lose it and move along.
What's 9 anyway?
About half your health.
I mean, I can only take so much. You're at 21. I'm at 19. Okay, so what do we threaten if we hold this mess? Sure. We've got that Tunic counter. I mean, if I can't get you blocking this next turn, I think I have to dump. That's sad.
If you cannot get me to block, then that is a good plan.
But I don't know that I'll ever get the chance to get you to block. It's kind of what I'm running into in this matchup. That's kind of the problem. It's so fast.
And this isn't even the fast.
I know.
Briar.
Yeah, the fast ones are real fast. So we could come back with, what does 13 look like? That's getting you in the you need to prove it range.
I will say if I have an embodiment of Earth and you threaten that much, I will either block it and be way ahead on health, or I will have a hand that will punish you. This is actually good.
Yeah.
Lesson.
Yeah.
Because just in this structure, if you take 9, moves your arsenal, and threaten 13, then you're at 10. If I take everything, I go down to 8. But then at 10, I can probably have hands that will actually force you to block in a genuine way. But if I don't have a hand that does that, I will just block. That's why I like Beefy Briar.
Yeah.
And be ahead by 10 health.
Yeah.
And I will literally just keep doing that until I have a hand that your 13 doesn't even matter.
100%. So let's just unpack this together, everybody. This is a helpful moment. So this is what we're looking at. So basically, we could block here with some armor, or here, and hold this. My inclination would be to, if I block 9, I block 9 here. I send 4 back, no charge. I arsenal the steel hand to give me go again on my next turn cycle. So those are all good things. This 4-card hand is actually pretty great. So it's Bolt with 6 for go again, draws a card, use the card to E-strike for 7, go again, Raiden for 3. So that's looking like 13, 16 damage to 21. So that's, you have 5 left after that if you take it all. Of course, you also have armor, some armor left. You've got your little tunic there. But basically, if you go down to 5 and then you send a 5-card hand back at me and I'm at 10, I'm probably blocking at least 2 or 3 cards. And then how do I seal the deal on the last 5 that you don't just 1-card block and then send 3 more at me? Because you're way better in that position than I am. So the other question is, if I block 9 here, how do I ever even get back in this game? I send 4, let's say you take 4, You go down to 21, 4, 17. I've got to draw into like a big V turn, and then I've got to be in a position to take 19 or 18 from you. And with snatches and force of natures, it's not easy to find that moment. And I've got to V into a big line. So which one's more likely? Is it more likely that you take all of this damage and then you potato, and then I win?
Well, if I potato, I won't take the damage, right?
Yes, that's right.
That's right. The equation. So like, either I have the hand that is okay to take the damage, or I have the blocking hand.
And see, the best thing for me, you know, I play the bolt. You're like, this hand's garbage. You block the 3. I steal hand over it. I get the card and the damage anyway. Then it's E strikes 7. You block 2 out of hand, or a 4 and a 3. I give it go again. I get 3 more damage off of Raiden, and I still get.
Yeah.
But I end with no arsenal.
Yeah. That's the tough. The 9 on this is really tough. Yeah. If it was 6, you just block with 2 cards. Send the courage anyway. Probably get the damage, the card, and the Raiden. But the fact that it also is costing you the arsenal is where the math gets wonky.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna block 6. Or I'm sorry, 9.
Okay.
And then my favorite play in Bolton, which I do all the time, is just sending 4 with no charge. And this guy's pending.
All right, 4.
That's like my red on him stats right there. Just like, what are you gonna do? Block that? Sure. Block my wounding blow.
I'll take 4.
Arsenal that bad boy.
Just like that, you're ahead.
Yeah. Now
Table Pit wants to know how you're feeling right now.
I need to see like a red ball. I'm losing this game. Probably 80-20 at this point.
Okay. You need to see a what?
I need to see like a V style something, and I need you to not threaten draw on hits.
All right, Tell Harvest.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Let's do this instead.
It's right. Yeah, it's right there. I feel about a half turn to a turn behind right now. You haven't seen Heroic either. So if that continues, that's how Bolton can win this matchup.
Yeah. Scar for forward go again.
Just convenient, isn't it?
Be a real shame if a mountain came down from the clouds.
No blocks on it.
I'll allow it. Take 4. Just convenient.
I've got to reserve anything I've got for a snatch or a hit effect of Force of Nature. Though I bet if you had Force of Nature right now, you'd be playing it.
Well, it wasn't buffed. So
doesn't it get +1 though?
If you play it,
oh, it's the next. Yeah.
So the next thing is +1.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna play Blue Captain's Call.
There it is, the Evan special.
We're going to get Embodiment Lightning, and I'm gonna choose +2. So my next attack that costs 0 or less to play is gonna get +2.
Don't you play a snatch here, please?
Well, it's gonna be better than that. Let's do a CNC with Go again from the Embodiment Lightning.
Did you say that's your third one?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I didn't see a mountain, but I did see a Command and Conquer.
You see a seed.
So technically these are gone. So would that be? But I'm gonna leave it for a reminder.
So you're gonna sword after this too, huh?
There's a +2 floating.
Oh no!
It doesn't get used on the CNC. You see.
Yikes.
NC. Yikes.
CNC.
NC.
It's dynamite. I can't let that happen, dude. Yikes. I mean, I got 3 block on the equipment. I would love to use that tunic. Like, for the money.
Yeah. It's a shame. It's a crying shame.
Are you going to snatch after this?
Snatch wouldn't have Go again.
That's fine. But you 6 more damage in an arsenal? still pretty okay.
It would be okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't know what I'm going to do, honestly.
I don't know how much more patient I can be. You know, like, something's got to give here. Garbage. Absolute garbage. All right, let's go back to the numbers. 2.
We may not have much, but we have the numbers. Bryce, can you open that door?
It's kind of close.
Thank you.
It's possible. What's that last thing you're going to do? Are you going to...
Appreciate that, Zach.
Did you just play Captains for the embodiment? Or did you use it for a dark, sinister purpose? Oof.
It's a good question.
Yikes. And if I think I'm hot sauce bar here, do I just block with a skull cap because I say I'm never going to go below your health again?
Well, if you don't think you're ever going to go below my health, I would definitely use a skull cap.
Okay. I'm going to block with the boat here.
The equipment suite in your CNC.
Yep.
Okay.
Sad. Sad.
I'll swing sword chain too.
Okay, let's go. I'll take 4.
I actually could have played the card. We'll get to that later. But we'll see if it was the right call.
All right, let's go Bolt charging here. You see how, you know, made all that stink about where's your soul? It just happens. It's fine. Like, people overvalue soul like crazy.
It's Bolt for 2.
Bolt for 2. Got snaps up, of course. That's always the Bolton. Use them when you absolutely have to. What's up, Zach Sporn? Hey, thanks so much. Not on topic. Wanted to thank you for all the FFG content, namely Champions. Didn't get to Arkham Horror playlist yet. Well, there's a whole lot of fun waiting for you there. Really good games, actually. Really good campaigns.
All right, let's go block 2.
Yeah. As you know, stealing in for 3. Go again. Draw a card. Now this card really matters. It's not what we needed. Sometimes Sync Blow can be really, really bad.
Jeremy, this equipment does have battle warning. I just don't think he had enough armor to
Yeah, it's fine. They're going. Raiden for 3. You look like you're kind of sitting on potatoes over there, if you ask me.
No block.
Double Lumina, just kidding. Just the single. Single Lumina, grab an action point.
Take 4.
Here comes that Valiant Thrust. Gain 1 life. Action point, swing for 4.
12. That's your health.
That's, yeah, I'm at 12. Quit asking, man.
Asking for
It makes me
friends.
nervous when you ask like that.
Yeah, it should. It should. It really, really should.
Can you imagine this started in play? Oh my gosh.
I'll block 4.
Ouch. It's just like
Yeah,
dagger to the
that's
heart.
good. We'd be sifting.
All right, pass. If this were a strong attack here, that would be great, but it was not. Like an Illuminate there would have been really good.
Just for you guys going to do a playthrough of Scarlet Keys.
We're talking about what that looks like. I'm interested in it.
Let's go Ravenous Realm. It's a red scar for a scar. Coming in for 4 with go again.
Are you going to draw that scar, you think?
You never know.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to block until I have to. This is nothing.
Yeah, it's just 4.
Yeah, 4.
Take 4. Okay. Exude confidence for 4.
And I can't do anything until I do it big.
You have to block an attack with equal or greater attack than it. And it has an instant that I can use.
You can make it go to 8, technically.
Potentially, yeah.
If you have 2 blues in hand.
Yeah, I could just knock you out of the sky.
I'm not sure that I can play in a way that I have to honor that. I really don't. If those are 2 blues, I think
Tasty.
I think I just have to let you maybe have that. We already saw you blocked with 1 blue.
Oh man. Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5. Oof. 6. Not good. Not good. Not good. Most of them got pitched.
There's only about 21 today.
Oh God.
I'll tell you how many are on bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've seen 5 of them in the deck. So there's only about 10 left in the deck. 2 in the 2-card hand? I don't know. Seems unlikely.
It does seem unlikely, which means you definitely have it. This sync, which I've talked about, is useless here. Obviously.
Yeah. You could use it later.
It's the card that makes it worthless. If I block with a card from my hand right now, I will be sending back 6 damage.
That ain't good.
All told. So that's what I mean.
How much do you do if you don't send it?
Oh, untold numbers. Untold amounts.
Untold.
So I can risk losing the game here if you have 2 blues. I think I lose the game if I block this.
Then you risk losing the game.
Right. So like I block this.
Right.
Even if you pump it to 6, I block, you pump 6, or you swing the sword or whatever. I go down to like 1 or 2 health, and then my return is 6. You take it and you swing a 5-card hand at me at 2 health. The game is over at that point. So I'm going to say no blocks.
We'll move to the reaction step.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll trigger my ability.
That's fine. It's acceptable.
Then I'll pass.
Okay.
So 6.
All right. Sometimes you got to take the chance, you know. You got to take the chance. Do your dance.
It's the Space Jam.
It's the Space Jam. It's a classic.
All right. Perfect.
Okay, let's do yellow take flight, pitch a blue here.
Untold.
And charge this here card. Courageous.
I gotta keep that reaction at +4.
You better watch your... What are you going to do? Over block 4 every time? Come on now.
I'm not gonna block that. I'll pass.
All right, I'll pass this one.
Take 3.
I'll swing this here Raiden with a Brave Forge, or not with a Brave Forge. It hasn't hit. You know, if it wasn't a warrior card, that would just say +1 to your sword swing once per turn.
Probably.
Can you read those Spellbound Creepers to me again? Just for comparison.
Once per turn instant.
Okay.
1 resource. Put a bind counter on Spellbound Creepers. You may play your next non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. Activate this ability only if you have attacked or defended with an attack action card this turn.
And does it have any armor on it?
1. Blade Break. At the beginning of your end phase, destroy creepers unless you have dealt arcane damage this turn equal to or greater than the number of bind counters on Spellbound Creepers.
Right. Problem. All right, it's going to be a 3 damage, of course. Yeah, Obsidian, exactly right. This is where Chain wrecks you.
3.
If you don't block, Beacon can kill you. We all know that.
Yeah, let's not allow that one.
But if you start blocking, are you in the same position I was in? You can convince me to run Raiden into everything.
It's in the hand we want.
Yeah. That you haven't seen a heroic is a freaking miracle, Zach.
Yeah. And I'm trying to live to the heroic.
What are the options? I mean, the chances of that happening are so great for me now. How good. It's gonna be me.
All right.
Attacks are going to give me +1. You better watch out.
1 card in hand.
Look at Evan in the chat. Hilarious. I see you've got a useless Valiant Thrust charged into your soul. Wouldn't it be great if it was a soul food instead? No, I haven't. You know what? It would not. We have half of our deck is already useless by the soul charging mechanic. But I would rather have the 3 block. And that Valiant Thirst has won me games, let's not forget.
Block for 4. Finally sell the mountain.
Wow. It's kind of ironic, isn't it?
Yeah. Something like that.
All right. We're going to bacon.
Yeah.
We're going to drop 4.
Okay.
We're going to get Illumina and we're going to play it. This is the best freaking hand that Bolton has now. This is singularly why he is a decent hero, because Spirit Beacon Lumina exists. So that's going to give it +5.
So you're at 8. I'll take 4.
You take 4. I'll resolve the Illumina. I'll gain an action point.
Well, boom.
Boom. I'll shuffle these E-Strikes from the bottom of my deck back up top. And draw 1 here, where it matters most, because Evan loves generics and he convinced me to run all of them. Great. I'll gain 1. And I'll Brave Forge Bracers. I'll swing for 5.
We will...
If this was like a Solar Tide or something here, go again, swing 5. Boy, oh boy. Or a red Valiant Thrust here in the arsenal would probably be the end of the game. Evan. Soul Food in arsenal here would be garbage.
I think I just do this. I'll block 3.
It's not an attack, is it?
Take 2. Look at that. That's the perfect mountain hand there.
Here we go. Yes. Swing for...
What do you say?
Heal, heal.
It's like, what? There's not more, right? That's the end. That's what I bought into.
I'll tell you one thing I learned on the day on the PQ. Dump all of it to Beacon every time.
Yeah.
Quit saving it. There's nothing to save it for.
Scarf for it, go.
Oh, look, they have that sink below. You've got... This is where I'm not good. I gotta just use the sink here, I think. I hate it, man. I hate it. Freaking hate it. What's going on here? Okay. Do we want to sink anything, I guess is the question.
How you feeling
You're
now?
going to play
What
the Snatch,
What are your
man.
odds at right now?
You're going to play a 0 for 4 that matters. What I'm thinking right now is that 4 is gutturally bad against Briar. I've seen all 3 Luminas. You've seen basically no Channel Knot Heroics. And you're going to swing this forward for 4, which is going to get a card out of hand no matter what happens. You got a Scar, which is going to get a card out of hand no matter what happens. You've got an Arsenal card as well. If it's another 4, I'm going to be down to basically none cards that I can play. And then I'm going to slowly lose unless you break. Yep.
Well, the Sphinx Sword, I have to play 9 attack. Worthwhile.
Yeah. But, like, if it's not this turn,
yeah,
I'm going to get... So you have to do nothing after this for this to work
that
out.
That ain't happening.
Yeah, I know. So I'm digging for, like, an Illuminate here that I can send.
The reaction is actually probably the scariest thing to me right now.
What?
Any reaction, attack reaction, because I'm at 1.
Oh, right, yeah. You just got to find a card you can actually play without pitching. None of these.
Smash it 4.
Right. So we get it. Oh. How many ways do I want to die? Now, this card draw, I think, isn't going to matter, right? So the card draw doesn't matter. But the draw, or the damage, obviously does.
The card draw, the most it could do to you probably is if this is a non-attack and I draw a blue and my creeper is non-attack swing sword.
Wait a minute.
This could be any non-attack action.
Oh, right.
If I just need the resources to do it.
That would be devastating.
That would be good, yeah.
But
if the non-attack happens to be Revel and Runeblood, which I haven't played non-attack yet,
game
so
over.
It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter.
Game over. Game over. So do you just... Yeah, because like I can't do anything meaningful with this hand anyway.
Block down.
Like if I block 1 here, all the cards I need to play are 1 cost. So we're in Bolton.
Boltyn. Welcome to Boltyn.
I'm gonna block. You get a draw.
All right.
If it's really good though, I'm taking it back.
Ooh. It would be really good. It's so close to devastating. Arsenal fans. Like if the order of my cards was 1 different, it would have been Bugatti. All right. This will play.
She'll play. Decisions. Rising Solar Tide, pitch that V1 floats.
No, you haven't charged.
I'm not charged. No.
Yeah. What does this thing read?
I don't have any more luminas. It's dead.
Okay, great.
Yeah. It's dead.
So your pump 3, it doesn't work unless you charge.
Right.
Razor could be bad. You could give it go again with snappies.
You think Bolton's clutching Spirit of Arena in this art?
Yeah, maybe.
Probably.
So Beacon is clearly the worst, but I think I lose via Beacon.
This for says, so next game, Zach's going to put the channel my heroics in the deck, right?
Right? Beacon would be bad.
I like the idea of having FAB gameplay where we're just taking it easy.
Yeah. This?
Yeah.
Block 6, 7.
You've activated my trap card. Wow, double revel. Yikes. I was about to get the fire hose.
Yeah, it would have been good.
I'll pass.
All right. I'm essentially just lose the Beacon there if I don't
You do indeed.
cover up. So here we are. All right.
I'm on a very dangerous, if you grass swing sword, I'm going to lose this game. I do technically have a skull cap that's worth noting, but it'll never be activated because you're at 1.
Part of the reason we go down down to the ground.
That's right.
Captain's Call for +2. Lightning Sword from Arsenal for 6 with Gogan.
And then either pitch, swing, or come in with 4. This is the part of the game that Bolton's very bad at.
The grind.
Yeah.
He needs to win.
He needs to win.
He needs to win before you get down to the gutter. He needs to be up there with the sunlight.
I've got a real question. So yeah. That's a non-attack and an attack, and it has go again.
Yep.
And the sword is incoming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we've got
Sword
to
is
do it. We've got to
incoming.
do it this way. Signed, sealed, delivered. All right, I'll block 6 there.
Yeah. Well, I will create a rune chant and swing sword.
Oh, bummer. I'm dead.
Oh, bummer.
I'm dead.
What'd you have? Did you have me that turn?
I had Beacon here.
Oh, yeah, man. Was that the card in hand?
Uh-huh.
Oh, my goodness. See?
yeah.
Isn't that nuts?
So what's cool about that last turn, and this is it's a real question.
It's amazing, honestly.
So there's two cheeky plays here. I'll show you the two options. I'll get this. So this is the...
You sank that turn too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I pulled up the beacon. So on that turn, I decide to swing 5, threatening unless you block 7 game.
Yeah.
What I can do instead is I can pitch V, charge, swing 4, swing 4. You're at 1 health, right? So swing 4 ideally would be 1 card from hand and boots. Swing 4 a second time would be 2 cards from hand. So then you have an arsenal card and 1 card in hand, which Rune Blades don't like. A lot of times that's just swing sword for 2. I take 2 and I come back with a 4 card hand.
Yeah.
So what would that line have looked like in the grand scheme?
Actually, that hand had none of my 4 blocks, which would have ruined that.
Yeah, that was my concern, was if he has even 1 non-attack, that covers this, boots, and 1 covers this.
And then you got a real problem on
And
your
then
hand.
you've got 3 coming back.
So I didn't. So I would have had to do Revel and boots, and then 2 here. And then my turn would have been Lightning Surge for 4 with Go again. Rune Chant, Swing Sword for 2.
Right.
So you would have had 4 coming at you, and then definitely going down to 2 because of the Rune Chant, and 2 more coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
So at least 2 cards out of your hand.
At least 2. Let's look at what the next one was. These are all the cards that I already sunk. So that started here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a classic Bolton 4-card hand.
So it would have been here, followed by this and this. And this is only 2.
Yeah, so I'm at 3. I've got a block. Let's see, not knowing what you're going to do. I assume this is probably all I get to play. I can maybe charge it or get an arsenal past this. So I assume you're going to hit the Rune Chant's going to happen. So I'm going to go down to 2. We know that. I'm going to block 3 of the first one. And then I have to block another card off of the Rosetta. So basically, I end up with any 2 cards of my choice to threaten back. The only threat I can really do is Express Arsenal or Express Charge.
Yeah.
So I probably Express
Arsenal.
And
you have Snap, so it makes it look like you might have another thing coming at me.
Yeah, yeah. But this, at that point, is a 2 card from you.
Well, this would have hit.
Oh, Embodiment.
So if I drew a 4 the next round, that's why that math's so good.
It gets so bad at the end of the game for Bolton. That's why I really wanted to just take the chance at a beacon win there.
Yeah,
he was probably higher odds.
Let me look. How many beacons are over here? Because they were saying the line 2 makes me still play around beacon, which is interesting. But I know you've already used 1. If I see you pitch 1.
Mm-hmm. Dude, ST Collectibles on probably the play that should have happened. So if I snaps the Solar Tide, I swing Raiden for 0.
Yeah,
and
I still have to respect it.
If I had Beacon, you still either have to respect it or it risks. That is a great play that I would not have seen.
That is a really great play.
It's a great learning moment.
Because then I would have had to block it with another card from hand.
Yeah. Fantastic. I'm glad to see that. Or you have to, again, just like, because if you honor it here, you have to honor it here.
Which then I go back to this line.
Yeah.
And now your snaps are gone.
I go back to this line, but I have Beacon and Arsenal.
Which you didn't. I just was able to kill you. So then I have to, you play the next round with Beacon and Arsenal and a 2-card hand.
Yeah, so then it's Express,
but this
Charge, Beacon. Even if you honor the Beacon, I come back in Raiden 3.
Well, even better though is Express, Charge, go get a 3-pump, right? And just kill me.
Gotta be an action card. Yeah. But you absolutely can Express, Charge, you cover it up, I Beacon it, I go get a 0 cost, like Illuminate down here, a 0 for 4, and then that creates some more problems. Or at this point,
then you can raid and go 4 after that.
Yeah. That's fascinating. That is a good
really
play.
Good line.
Ooh, that's the Michael Hamilton school of how to play FAB right there.
Yeah,
love that.
That makes sense.
All right, you want to do one against combo?
Sure.
Next up, 1 against combo.
And notably, are you wanting to play this or you want to play something else?
Whatever you want. We can show what combo against Briar looks like. That was, so it's worth noting that previous match was exceedingly fortunate for me because you didn't do any channel mount heroics.
Yeah, I was just playing fair.
1 channel mount heroic there, it's over.
Yeah.
That game is like not even close. So that looked like, oh, this has got a shot. If you play that match 10 times, you will come back with presumably the same conclusion that I did.
Interesting thing about it is like I played it a little different because you were on Raiden. Mm-hmm. That's why it will be interesting to see this. Because when you're not on combo, I don't have to be as like conservative.
Yeah, careful.
Yeah. But I think I should have been. If I, like the turn I drew heroic, if I had, that's the point. If I had more health on that turn, I could have taken the damage so that I can play it and I can do unfair things.
Too busy slapping CNCs.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Garbanzos. But it's kind of cool that Briar deck is either slapping CNCs or slapping heroics.
Yeah.
So
a lot of times when people are analyzing the game after, it's like, yeah, but you hit that perfect card. And it's like, well,
yeah.
If I'm not seeing the CNCs, I'm seeing something.
Seeing something. Okay, Coin asking, can you beacon the Courageous? You cannot. You have to grab an action card, that card. Otherwise, it would be pretty solid. All right, so going into combo, things that are always questionable are non-light cards. And I like the Easter eggs always. It's sometimes the only way to finish a game. You also still have to ask your question about the blues. And I like to have cataclysms in this one. Which I will grab here in a second. And sometimes just more light cards too. The sinks are always questionable, but I think I typically have them in. You're going to do a lot of blocking. Missing on that Lumina trigger is not too big of a deal. So Cataclysm comes in for me here. I want at max charge cards so that I'm not bricking on a turn where I need to charge. So I'm going to... There's a case to be made for leaving the CNCs in too. Like, there are these combo waiting around turns where blocking 2 is less good than swinging CNC into Briar, so that they have to honor the block. Now, a lot of times what Briar's going to do there is going to use the helm. I can go to the top 10 too. But that's also fine because that's 2 less block on your combo turn, and it oftentimes will grab a heroic from their arsenal or something they need for their heroic turn. So these are questionable. I think you do leave the sinks in. I think the extra engulfing comes in for sure. And this guy was static. So we've got 2 thrusts and 2 CNCs. I do want these 3 cataclysms in. And then your question becomes, and maybe only 2 of these, sometimes I still don't really know the right answer. Do you want to run like 1 CNC or do you want to run 1 Valiant Thrust? I might just run 1 CNC. These blue thrusts can actually help you finish a game after combo too, though. So it's kind of wild. Let's just go pure and see how that does. So we'll go with our thrust. Yeah, well, you grab the fit. So keep in mind this game, like, important things to note about the Briar Raiden game that we just saw, which is I played all 3 of my Luminas off of Spirit, and he played no channel mount heroics. So draw your conclusions about that, and still lost. But had potentially a win, or at least a better threat, in the Snaps Raiden play, which is, gosh, I love those moments where you just realize you're not playing as well as you could.
That was definitely an out.
Yeah, crazy.
Would have been tough to continue playing around that.
And I'll honor that ST collectibles. I'll go ahead and put the CNCs in. I'll grab 2 of them. That's reasonable.
What was the?
Basically, like what I've certainly found, and I think this is true, is a lot of times you have 2 cards that could block 6, or you can leave the CNCs in, and those 2 cards instead send 6 CNC back, which usually
more than 6.
is going to prevent more damage than the 6 that you blocked. Sometimes, again, it's just going to get the helmet and.
Quincy and I played Briar at a PQ with Bolton, and second turn, Force of Nature plus Channel Mount Heroic. I and Bolton lost our Dreadlocks.
It was, yeah. I mean, once that happens, it's, yeah. That's what I was saying. The context of that game we just played, I played 3 Luminas off of Spirit. You played 0 Mount Heroics. And I still lost.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
It's crazy.
And you saw Spirit relatively early.
Yeah, it was like, again, it's one of those things, everything that needed to happen did.
And sometimes it'd be like that.
Sometimes it do.
You want to go first again?
Sure.
At least give you that.
I guess. I think that's right. I don't know. Keeping Briar off his CMH is kind of the name of the game, but I'm also racing you to get to the Luminas, so I don't know how it's going to go.
I feel like if you're trying to dig and you don't want me to dig, you should definitely go first.
Yeah.
Because you get to see more cards.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. 1 cycle ahead, basically.
Yeah.
These shuffle nicely, these Dragon Shield mats.
They do. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Maybe I shouldn't just use the classics.
Oh, the soggy bread. You're good.
The Guinness. All right, here we go. And sometimes you get that first turn no charge card, and you just.
So this is combo Bolton.
Yeah.
I think going first makes tons of sense because you want to filter and also charge.
Yeah, 100%.
To get the party going.
It's combo Bolton, and here we are.
Yeah, and I can tell that because you got Centauri Sabers and Courage of Blade holdout.
Yes.
And Gallantry Gold.
If I have Centauri Sabers and not Courage of Blade hold, you should be ready for a Wild Ride, which is basically a Saber, Slice and Dice, Bolton Axis style deck. Everything's going to be fine for you. Don't worry about it.
Everything's fine.
Everything's going to be just fine. All right. Let's do Bolt of Courage. I'm going to charge this here E-Strike. Coming at you for 1.
Block 2.
You got it. And then I will Arsenal here. I've had that stuck too often. I'm not going to do that. There's like one way it goes real bad. All right, over to you.
Dr. Sandula, hey, congrats on the top 4.
Hey,
Bolton.
thank you so much.
Let's go Rune Chant. Red Arm Touch coming in for 7 and 1 Arcane.
Take the Arcane. And do I even want this? Yeah, sure. I'll pass blocks and then Soul Shield that guy.
Okay.
And take 1.
Boom. And I will Arsenal and pass. Soul Shield.
Soul Sides. Okay. And this is actually an interesting decision in this game. The decision, it doesn't look like much really, but a lot of the times you bolt take flight and then you put this in the arsenal. Mm-hmm. What's weird about it though is sometimes that happens and then you draw Lumina 2 cards and then you start wiling out and then it's like because this costs 1 and it requires a pitch, it gets into like these weird situations where you can actually play it. That exact situation, actually a fine situation for take flight. But like you'll draw 1 Lumina and then you can't get this out of Arsenal to get the Lumina in there. So we're gonna see if that happens. I'm gonna stick to the standard line and then I'll tell you if it's causing difficulty. Bolt Courage for 3.
Problemos.
The good thing here is if you just don't block this, I draw and I get a chance to do something that isn't take flight.
Well, I am not gonna block.
All right.
So go down to 2.
It's the same card.
Weird.
Wow. You take 3 there?
Yeah. Bumblebee Tunic. All right.
That's a joke nobody's going to understand.
Here for it. Scarf for forward Gogan. Actually, no, back that way. I can do this better. Let's go Sift, blue. Put a card under.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah. Scarf for forward Gogan.
Yeah. Black 3, take 1.
All right, let's load them up.
Load them up.
Let's go Lightning Switch for forward Gogan.
So this is kind of the situation I'm talking about, right? So I give you a card. Next play, if I give you another card, I can't charge. I can't do anything on my turn.
Yeah.
So if I like do all or nothing, so if it's like 4, 4, 4, and then a 2, 2, there's no real good efficient way to recover from that. Especially if that's a snatch. And we really don't want to use our skull cap right now.
You do not want snatch.
You want to save some combination of these for whenever you CNC me, which will happen. The reason I like skull cap, honestly, is that blocks 3, and then skull cap again with courage blocks 3.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So it gets you some good moments. I'll say no block on that for that reason. 6, 7.
Swing sword, go 2.
2 and 2. Take 4.
Arsenal play.
Okay. And then we'll do take flight, pitch the V, charge here, 1 floating, 3 coming at you.
No block.
Okay. Take 3, and then we'll swing 2.
We will not block.
Okay.
Boom.
Somebody got something over there. Damage isn't free, you know what they say.
Tunic. I don't know what you're talking about. What up, Dylan? Just joined watching from the start. Looking forward to the next 3 hours. Well, good luck. And then once you get to these comments, hope you had a great day and a great time. All right.
Oof. We need to see the combo right now. So this is where combo's bad, everybody. Just, if it hasn't happened by now, it looks very bad. Just so you know that.
Interesting.
Having not seen at least one Lumina by now is like well behind what you need to be on this matchup in particular. Especially if you're about to slap, because you're about to slap 5.
I am about to slap.
And it's going to be a slap. I haven't seen any snatches. I haven't seen any CMHs. I haven't seen any CNCs. Absolute slapper.
Channel Heroic.
Channel Mount Heroic, yeah, sorry.
Lightning Switch for forward Gogan.
I mean, do I even want to touch that? Because like it's only going to make the next things way worse. This is the game you have to play as combo Bolton.
Yeah. I mean, in general, it's hard for anybody because you don't want to block this if a snatch is coming down the pipe.
Yeah, and it is. It is. But if I just have to waste these cards, that's also real bad. I will declare no blocks.
Okay. I'll let it resolve. Get the money over. Oh, this is the choice. I think that's the right call. We'll go Bramble Spark, no fusion.
Of course.
Revel and Runeblood.
Oh, come on, man.
Then I'll E-Strike, and I'll put a card under. I'll choose draw a card.
Do you have money?
I have no money, but I have a Tunic, of course. 4 Arcane. Did you already take it?
Yeah.
5 Physical with Gogan.
No hit effect, anything weird?
Actually 3 Arcane because the Bramble Spark.
3 more?
An extra 1. An extra 1.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm used to this sort.
Yeah, sure.
ST. Shred your snatch.
And, yeah, okay. So here you are. 5. Well, I've got a really risky play. And you've got one card. It either becomes 4 damage or an arsenal. No, you got the tunic. Oh, no. 4 damage is happening and the arsenal is happening.
Oh, the value.
All right, I'll block 5 there.
Okay. We will tunic for a resource. We'll swing sword. Pay 1. Turn 2.
Yeah, take 4.
Arsenal pass.
I'm gonna take 2 less.
Okay.
Yeah. I forgot that when you're not playing Raiden, people just let these bolts hit. I dealt with that all throughout the. So if you're holding an extra card, assuming they're gonna block it, don't.
Because they won't.
They generally won't. No, I mean if you do, that's actually fine.
I will. I will not block a react.
Nice.
Sync.
Noise.
Tunic. All right. God, decision.
So much time. You still haven't seen the CMH?
No.
My gosh.
Well, sometimes you just get cold.
Dude,
you know?
I gotta
It's
give
a-
you.
it's
I
an
gotta
icy
play
meta.
against Briar more often. I like this. I like when you don't have those cards.
Bramble Spark. I'm going to show you Tumble Harvest. What up, Lewis?
Okay, Bramble. Now I need to pay attention to those cards because I always don't.
So the card I'm
Yes,
using?
and I need to start
Yeah, you had that
tracking.
happen one time on
I did.
Sunday.
On Tim, it's like he fused something, and then
It
I
was
was like,
killing me. You were like, oh man, if you were like speculating what it would be.
yeah.
And I was like, dude, you know what it is? You know what
Wouldn't
it
that be
is?
crazy though if I was doing that just as a total
Oh, yeah.
bluff?
There was a moment that happened between Eric and I's game. I don't remember what it was, but we then concluded the play. He could have bluffed a play and have no choice but to honor it. And it was really annoying. And what he was doing. And he did it by mistake. He bluffed by mistake.
Yeah, the old untrained swordsman strategy.
So Bramble Spark fusing, then I'll play the Tumble Harvest.
Okay, I don't have to remember that anymore.
Which creates this, does this, and I draw 3.
Whiff, whiff, whiff. Like a hot wind moving through the studio.
We're having trouble.
Here we go.
Revealing a snatch. That would have been so much better.
Let's remember that one.
So it has double go again. It's coming in for 4 plus 3 from Bramble Spark.
That's
and
7.
1 arcane damage.
Yeah, I'll take the 1.
Which gets me this.
Yeah, then I'll block 6 and take 1.
I'll pitch and swing sword.
2 and 2.
Yep.
Take 2 and then I'll AB 3 on the.
All right, nice.
Over to me. I'm gonna arsenal and pass it back.
Yeah. We're moving so fast. That's how I missed a tunic.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you to miss that tunic.
Yeah, that's good. Good try. Didn't happen. We were close. I almost did. All right.
It's so much less fun than Raiden.
The combo, yeah.
It's so annoying.
You're just sitting there like a goose.
Like an old light goose.
An old gooser. Oh, man.
The old sun goose.
All right, let's just do this play. CNC for 6.
Now, pray tell, sir, with 3 cards in hand,
Either it's
one of them being a snatch, some would assume that the boots would come into play
This
here.
is either hot garbage or...
It feels a lot
Boots
like
town.
boots, force of nature.
Let me tell you what would be the most crazy.
What's that?
Boots, Mount Heroic. CNC goes up to 9, and you know I have a snatch as my other card.
That is the end of the game.
Then snatches for 7.
It may have already ended, to be honest with you.
And because the Mount Heroic would be at instant speed, the chain wouldn't clear.
Right.
So be careful.
We hope you don't have that.
Yeah, it would be bad.
We hope you don't have it.
Man, there's nothing like an instant speed Heroic. It is just crushing.
No, we don't need that. Okay, we're going to block 2. And it's going to be these 2.
C and C. After that resolve, summon instant speed. It's not Heroic instant.
Yay.
That'd be good, though. Revel doesn't do anything.
Yes, I like all these cards that do nothing. That's incredible.
And then I'll swing sword for 2 and 2.
Pitch in the snatch, huh?
Well, I already had another card in hand, right? Block Nightmare Words. Mount Heroic at instant speed.
Huh, that did not play out like I thought. Wouldn't you know it? Okay. Block 3, take 2.
You got it. Actual pass.
And then I'll send 4 back, no charge. Yeah, I imagine you're going to take it, but you might block it with all your armor also. Oh,
weird.
Yeah, you got the old twice baked over there.
We're in tater territory.
This man ordered from McAllister's.
I think I do that. How many is it coming for?
4.
And you did charge?
No, I did not. It's a wounding blow. Yeah.
And no hit effect.
No. Sir, this is an Arby's. Or a Wendy's?
Yeah, let's take 4.
Yeah. Sir, this is a Wendy's.
2.
Yeah. Okay, see, this is what can happen. You just don't draw it.
Oh, the combo?
You just don't draw it.
Yeah, that does happen.
And, there's only so much time.
I'm here to help you, though. You ready? I'm going to help you
In
out.
so many games here, you have plowed through me already.
Yeah. I'm going to play it. This round's on me. I'm a friendly neighborhood FAB player.
Great.
It's not better. We're going to play a Channel Mount Heroic.
Is this just what it looks like when 2 bad decks play each other?
Yeah, probably. Let's get this. And then I will pass.
Oh,
Arsenal.
Zach, that is horrible for me. I have almost nothing to do
triggers.
with these cards.
And remember, all your attacks are -1 this turn.
You know what? I do. I have plenty to do, in fact. I misspoke. How about this tasty number? Let's pitch that. And no. We'll take a... Nope. We don't... Nope.
What?
Yeah, we'll pitch that old charge here. Here's the old combo 5 card. Watch out. Coming to you for 3.
I will not block.
Got you. And then think about this, though. How about a CNC? That's why you run it. Just in case you get 5 dumb cards.
Helmet.
Yeah, there it is. Played out like we thought.
Draw a card. Take 4.
Get a little filter in your life.
Honestly, this is a strange
It's as slow as it's ever been.
amalgamation of things happening here.
Oh, 2 decks at their worst. Oh, you got to be kidding me.
It's all right, though. We'll make it. It'll play. It'll play. I think. Which of these is better? Woo!
Oh, baby.
All right, CNC was at 5.
Yeah, that's right. That's
I
right.
get a life back.
Did that change anything for you?
No, not
You
at
just
all.
took it? I don't even remember what you did. I've been blacked out.
I used the helmet.
Been looking for Luminas over here.
I used the helmet.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
It's a decision to be made. You know what? That is a decision to be made. All right, let's do it. We'll go CNC, pitching here and here.
We're playing old-fashioned Fab now, aren't we?
Coming at 9 with Gogan. And I pitched 2 Earth cards, so the Heroic's going to stay.
Well, sir.
Is this just what it is when 2 decks are bad?
Oh, not good, not good, not good. Black 9.
Okay.
With this, notably.
The bacon. Check this hot number out.
Yes, you good.
I'm going to play a Nimblism.
Great, love
Then
it.
I'm going to swing the sword.
Okay, for 2 and 2.
Yeah, so I basically drew 2 Autumn's Touch and 2 Nimblism. So it's like, this is not at all what we want to be happening.
Taking the 2. And back to you.
You took the 2 and 2?
Yeah, 2 and 2, back to you.
This has that second one.
That was one of those, you had the combo, but you didn't have the charge card hands.
Cool.
Those are cool.
I like this style.
Sometimes it's just like you're riding a bike and the wheels come off. Or they were never there to begin with. You know, that also happens.
Okay. We'll go Bramble Spark. And we'll show you Tome Harvest.
Cool.
And then I gotta think about my life. Because I could do 3, 6, 7, 12.
That's why, just before I say you almost couldn't stack the decks to be this bad.
Tome Harvest.
You also keep pitching all your good cards, so I don't know what that's about.
Well,
You pitch the Snatch, you pitch the Force of Nature. Maybe that's the problem, is you're just pitching
about
the
to
ones you're supposed to
find out.
play.
Nah, I think it's the right call. So I wanted to play it. I had an Nimblism in Arsenal.
Uh-huh.
So I could Bramble Spark, Nimblism, Force of Nature fused, E-Strike, draw a card. And it would be at 12 and do an Arcane, which is fine. You have armor, plus you just block it out. This way I keep the E-Strike, and then I have a chance to play several attacks. So the Force of Nature might draw me a card.
Yeah, the 8, yeah. Just threatening, pounding this life total is probably the right call.
Yeah, so I'll play E-Strike, put one under, I'll choose draw a card.
5.
Plus 6.
Oh.
11 and an arcane damage.
Right
from
on,
the
right on,
Bramble
right
Spark.
on, right on. I'll take the Arcane.
Right on.
And, you're going to see all these cards. So this is
Ooh.
the problem here is your charges also are all cost 1. So I can't, if I lose a card here, I can't combo. I've got the Beacon here in the arsenal for a turn or 2. So we have to ask, is there a way to not die and not give you a card? And if you're sending 11, I've got 4 block on the table.
So there's no card involved because I don't have Force of Nature.
No, but like I can't
you want
block
your
with
cards.
a card
Yeah,
from
yeah.
my hand.
Yeah.
So this is one of those hands where I just have to give you the hand. And then the question is, do you block with the Lumina or hold it? And there's really no winning here. I mean, it's not even conceivable. You got 3 cards in hand.
Could be taters.
I mean, I've seen bad stuff out of this deck, so like maybe I'm confident that you're bad.
You may show you what I'm going to do. So we'll cut to the chase.
So like if I block 4 here on 11, I take 7 and die.
Yeah.
So there's really no reason there. I could play for a single Lumina here. That's reasonable. Which still requires 3 cards. So I would still die. Almost assuredly. So I'll block 9. Because if I block with this Lumina, I'm going to lose 1 value. I assume I'll get 3 values somewhere this turn.
So there's 1 arcane.
I took that.
And then there'd be 2 more damage.
And I'll take 2.
Get the embodiment. And then we will...
Pass?
Nope. Swarming for 7 would go again.
Right.
Right.
So I could block equipment here and save the Lumina. And I go down to 2. You swing the sword, I would lose.
I don't know. You got the AB.
I don't have the blue.
Well, you know. I don't know that.
It's a Lumina down here, you know. If you close the chain, I can potentially get 1 more block out of the skull cap.
If you're a complete idiot. Now, I will say, I would have to close the chain to create a rune chain.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's not completely insanity.
Yeah, so I'm going to go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's coming.
Okay.
There's no winning here.
Then
So
I'll
do what you want.
I'll exude confidence for 7.
Okay. Wait a minute. All right, well, there's...
And then I'll pump it by 2 to go to 9.
All right, easy. Yeah, easy, yeah. So this turn is supposed to happen like turn 3.
It can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sure can.
Yeah.
And really, it could have at least happened the turn before because I had the heroic out with the embodiment, and then I just literally drew. I had a hand earlier, 2 hands in a row that were like heavy 0-cost attacks.
Yeah.
And when you see those hands as Briar, you're nervous because that means your deck's probably lumpy.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So I was kind of expecting it. I mean, my bad hand could have been. I ended up deciding to pitch the 2 arms touch to play CNC to keep heroic around to like take the shot at this turn.
Yeah.
But I could have sent CNC with go again and then autumn touch for 10. So it would have been 9 and 10.
Still
which
solid.
Is not like an awful hand.
Yeah.
And then arsenal the card. But, playing for value.
This sometimes happens. You get... last turn was the second Lumina / Beacon. That last turn was actually Lumina, Beacon in hand, and Beacon in arsenal.
Yeah.
Which can be quite good, obviously. But by the time you're that low on health, you don't have the bandwidth to make it happen.
And normally, like, I want to save these for your combo turn, but you were getting low enough health that, and I was digging when you CNC it. It's like, well, I can't not dig at this point. But
if I had the 0-cost charge card turn before,
you could have hit the combo.
I think I could have hit a double.
Yeah.
But what's funny about Briar, and you should definitely look at this too, because the turn that you had just now would have happened after my combo turn. And what I found is that in testing against Briar and Fi, a lot of the times you don't even touch the combo.
Yeah.
You take 30, literally like no issue. And then, or like between armor and stuff, you take like 20 some odd. And then you launch 28 back at me.
And you got a problem.
And it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if you hit the combo when you still have like 25 health left on your side, you're in a better spot. But the problem with combo Bolton typically is that after the combo, you're just so toothless.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard for you to get going.
It is a bit of a problem. Having like 6 cards in here, like one of these was unearned because you just gave me a hand, and one of them was also because you gave me a hand. But this it looks like I probably should have blocked one more 3 here. I didn't need this much soul. That's just a waste. It's too much. So I maybe was 3 block down. I kept trying to play around your worse attacks, but they never showed up.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the chain. So
yeah,
that is the hard part about the combo too. Is you have to ask: do I take the definite value on the first attack or 2, or do I try to prevent what a snatch blowout would look like?
Yeah. It's tough. And I think if you're playing combo, like
I'm not terribly good at it because I hate it, but
you're kind of aiming to pop off by like turn 3 or 4, right?
Yeah, ideally 4 is like average.
This is like what, turn 7 or 8?
And you can run the numbers. I did it once and I forgot, but it's 6. There's 6 cards in your deck. You need 2 of them by like turn 4, typically.
Yeah, and you need to just charge once a turn until that point. And then
once or twice, and you're fine. Yeah. If you get Spirit out, it's great because then Soul doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So if you see Spirit like first turn, you don't need to charge. You can just keep blocking.
Yeah, quite powerful, honestly.
It's super strong. Maybe 1 charge is enough.
Synthetic 1, how'd the first game go?
It was good. It was closer. Raiden got there was a line. I'm in love with that line now. Snaps at Raiden 0 is sick.
Yeah, with the reaction. I think this game is never going to feel close.
It's either you're right.
You're either going to hit the combo and blow me out because I can't stop it, or I'm probably going to win by a margin. Like you're either going to not see the combo here, or you do see it, and then I have direct in arsenal, and I've got 4 blocks in hand, and then you get me to like 25, and then it's like, okay, now you got to play fair.
Yeah,
like, this is not going to be good.
And then it's real bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe the first game that we played was not indicative of how Briar Raiden usually goes because there were no CMHs. I was rolling really high. You were rolling really low. So this, to me, was one of the worst matchups going into the PQ. I thought Briar and Icelander were real bad. Lexi's about like this, except you just block and maybe they lose at the end of it somehow.
Yeah, I need to test that more, just like, even with Briar into Lexi, if you can just block it.
Because I was taking Courage, Skullcap, Brave Forge into Lexi.
Tons of armor.
So it's 9 armor on the board. And I just trying not to
you also
give
have
them
the
any
big
added value.
Like, that's super...
Shoal Shields and the Shunts. It's weird with Lexi, though, because a lot of the times you get a Frostbite at the start. So then your even sync belows cost 1.
Yeah.
So now if you draw 2 syncs on that turn, it's real bad. It's like 2 cards blocking for 4, no good.
Yeah, but it is like a blue plus a soul shield. Be able to cover it. Like a 6 is an important number there.
Yeah.
Especially with the Rain Razors stuff they've got going on.
Yep. Endless Rain, yeah.
Like the Endless Arrow with the Rain Razors is just like painful. And if you are just sitting on that in Arsenal until they do it, and then you get them.
Yep. Yeah, we can turn a game around a little bit.
Super good.
Thanks everybody so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. I don't think we have anything else to cover.
Yeah, we're going to be doing face-up draft again when Outsiders get here. Steven's going to go in blind. If you're not already subscribed to get Outsiders, you should.
Absolutely.
Do that. Automatically get the booster boxes.
We'll have our promo, too, to reveal at some point. And that is the one card I will look at from Outsiders. Yeah. I will check that card out, for sure.
Man, but with the classes in this set, I feel like it could be a really good one for you.
Yeah, it's
whatever the
devastating.
promo is.
I'm very interested in the old Trappy Ranger, man.
He's either going to be obnoxious or amazing.
I do think I have some concern because we're in a pretty icy disruptive meta. And if we stack into that a mill hero and when you attack me, I surprise you with things that make you worse hero, which maybe not.
Assassin?
Maybe it's not that, the Ranger. Like if you imagine a trap ranger right now, all the traps we've seen is when you attack me, I respond and make things hard for you.
Yeah.
That's not how traps work currently because they're very bad, but I assume we'll get actually well costed traps.
Yeah, or traps, or a hero that just makes traps reasonable somehow.
Just remove the pay cost.
Yeah, we'll see. Because then you also have a assassin and ninja.
Yeah.
Ninja will probably be normal.
I'm glad Ninja's in there, but that'll be a fun draft because it's like you have this weird assassin-y, not really sure. We'll see where the card pool lands up for Assassin. It could be a mid-range deck, and then you have Ninja on aggro, and then you have probably Control and the Trap Ranger. And so that three-way meta would be really cool. And there's the 3 other heroes too.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get like, if you have the various archetypes like you just mentioned, if each class kind of has 2 of the 3 that they're decent at, like they can play, mid-range or aggro, or they can play Control and aggro or control based on the hero, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so then I'm really curious to see the set composition.
Yeah. Bring on the limited though.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you guys.
Thoughts about the stealth keyword?
Stealth keyword. What does stealth do? Wait, am I supposed to know that? I'm not supposed to even know that.
Nope.
I don't know anything about anything.
No thoughts at all.
All right, we'll see y'all later. Thank you so much
here.
for being here. Thank you for all the congrats and support and whatnot. And play the heroes you love.
That's right.
And that's all that there is to it. Take care, everybody.